We're
Okay.
recording. Woo!
Woo. I'm not going to sing with you because we have a history of audio delays and it never works.
Uh, well, did we ever come up with one for our music chats or did we only have the boys love one?
Just for the boys' love. But
Okay.
yeah, the endless footage of us trying to get Raikon Topani in the same cadence at the same time,
Uh-huh.
legendary, but it never
Mm-mm.
happened.
Yeah. 50 episodes later, we can never figure it out.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, hey everybody. This is actually Shallow 360's channel, believe it or not. But I'm here with Mason and we're together on my channel. And we haven't been together on my channel since we were in person together at my house.
I was gonna say if I've ever even been on your channel, but you're right. We were on your channel for a hot minute. I think we did like a live stream,
Yeah,
a little
very,
COVID live
very short.
stream.
So yeah, I think that was the only time. And that was, in fact, I don't even think it was you and me. I think it was you, me, Jade, and Alex. Because I think that was the time that the spider crawled on me and I lost my mind.
I think that was the Thunderdome, and I think that was on my channel.
Okay, well then yeah, I don't guess we've ever really been together on my channel then, even though we've done things together. We went
Uh-huh.
to the concert at the Hollywood Bowl and we did a
Hmm.
video together for that.
We
That
did.
was on my channel. That one for sure was on my channel.
Okay.
And then we were together via Zoom several times. You
Hmm.
came and visited me in Colorado, so we were together then. And then
Hmm.
we were together at your place last summer.
Yeah, you were. You were here.
Yeah. And I think that was on my channel. So yeah, we've been together a few times. I think that
Great.
last one was on my channel. So yeah, it's been about a year.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm glad to be back.
Well, I'm glad to have you here because you and I are going to be talking about something that I feel is definitely in your wheelhouse. And there's not many other people that I would trust to discuss the subject with.
Uh-huh.
Also, like for anybody that hates my spicier opinions, please leave now because there's going to be nothing but spice.
It's gonna be a rough one if you can't handle it. One thing about us, we're rude. And when we get together, we're even ruder.
I wouldn't say we're rude. I would just say I like to say what you're thinking.
And
Yeah,
what I'm thinking is probably a little rude.
so there you go. So more I'm more of a conduit to your inner thoughts, not rude.
Okay, so it's my fault then.
Uh well, you and whoever's watching, because a lot of people, wink wink, agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I am really happy to be here. I remember you talked about doing this on a live stream, and then I texted you because I was like, I could either ask to be on this video or I could leave my dissertation in the comments of the video. Take your pick.
Right. And so this was the happy medium for you to be here.
Yeah.
But also I'm really glad to talk about this with somebody because I I tend to be narrowly focused on certain things, and
Hmm.
especially because I have old lady brain, so it's really hard for me to think outside of maybe the point I'm trying to get across. Also, I've noticed a tick about myself whenever I'm talking about subjects. I always say something three times, and so because I'm busy saying it three times, I have a really hard time of grabbing context to kind of flesh out a lot of my thoughts. And so always talking with you, it helps me to like really bring in some things that I should have remembered to bring in and forgot.
Oh, great. I'm glad
Yeah,
I could help, I guess.
you are. You're
I always think you
helping.
sound good.
Thank you. So, we're going to talk about post YG, and it's really important to talk about post YG because we're in a really interesting time where we have more post YG products on the market than YG products on the market, to really be honest. We've
Mhm.
got every single member of Blackpink having a solo. We've got people who were really important to YG maybe 10 years ago who are out there and are doing things. And also, not to be sad during this, but one thing that really came to mind when I began to listen to the music to be doing this episode, We Sung recently passed away. It's been probably about a month, maybe a month and a half since he passed away. And Lee Sung got his huge debut with YG when YG still had Big Mama and they still had One Time. And the way his life went after YG is very sad.
Mhm.
He had problems with drug abuse. I won't say alcohol because that was never talked about, but he was accused at one point of using propofol as a recreational drug.
I never even heard of propofol till I heard
It is
about
what it's what killed Michael Jackson.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's a drug that you're supposed to be in a surgery room for because like you have to have somebody watch you to make sure that you don't stop breathing. Right. Wild.
Okay.
So, I thought about that. I also thought about kind of CL and 21 because also in the last few months we've had the 21 reunion. And while aspects of the reunion were very delightful to see, and of
Uh-huh.
course we're glad to see the girls together, in more recent months, there's been a lot of ugliness that's come about from thinking about 21 again.
Uh-huh.
And so, yeah, post YG is something to discuss because people have had varying levels of success in terms of turning out their own projects after YG. But also, I think a lot of what YG does with their artists, for both the good and the bad, develop habits that are hard to break when you leave YG.
Uh-huh.
And so, yeah, felt like now was as good a time as any while we're all thinking about post YG stuff to talk about post YG, especially because, again, we just had the big 21 reunion. All of Blackpink are putting out solos. G Dragon just came out with a project. Like, there's a lot of post YG stuff to consider specifically at this point in time. So it's time to have that discussion.
Agreed.
All right,
Who would you like to start with? Who's going to kick off the post YG discussion?
let's start with Big Bang.
Great.
Yeah, I wanted to
Um,
start with Big Bang because GD coming back feels like it is the longest comeback that we've been waiting for since things kind of went down with Big Bang. So, for those of you who don't remember, I won't dwell on the topic because I've talked about it multiple times. But Big Bang kind of fell apart when Sungri and his whole club situation and being friends with people who are demons, when all of that stuff came out, it pretty much was like, okay, Big Bang is breaking up essentially, but not necessarily that the concept of a Big Bang doesn't exist, but Big Bang became OT4.
yeah.
Then, shortly after that, Top got caught having smoked marijuana before by one of the industry's leading I'm telling on people persons.
Hmm.
She told on him. She told on BI from Icon, if everybody remembers. Like, this girl was the lead drama person in K-pop for a smooth season and a half.
Uh-huh.
And so then it became OT3 for a hot second. And then after that, it was pretty much just quiet. Like, there was no talk about anything regarding Big Bang as OT3. There wasn't any talk about any comebacks for G Dragon in a solid sense. It was always he's working on things, he's
Yeah.
thinking about things, we're considering things. And then it kind of all came to a head, I would say, a year ago when G Dragon was accused of smoking marijuana again. And if people don't recall, G Dragon was accused of smoking marijuana and actually got fined for it several years ago, back when Big Bang was a younger group. Apparently, somebody passed him a joint in Japan, I think.
I think it was like early 2010s, maybe.
Yeah, so it's been a long time ago. But right before this most recent accusation, YG, the label, had constantly been telling people we're in negotiations with G Dragon. His contract has expired, but we're working on a new contract. We're working on it. We're working on it. We're working on it. As soon as this accusation came out, they were like, well, we don't know what's going on with him because he's not a part of our label anymore.
That was crazy.
Yes, all of us were like, what do you mean? And
Because
then,
he
go
he
ahead.
ran YG for a bit.
Oh, absolutely. So once that happens, G Dragon's like, great. Glad you said that because I'm about to go take this hair follicle sample and they're going to see that I don't smoke weed and I'm leaving forever. And that's exactly what he did. He did the hair follicle sample. He tested negative. I think he did multiple tests. He tested negative for marijuana traces. And so he was like, by the way, I'm never coming back to YG. I am starting my own label. Fuck what you heard. And so it was after literally years of wanting to know, is he going to come back with anything, wondering kind of like, what was the block? Why hasn't he come back with anything? That we finally got 2024's Uberbench, which is already it's tough. I was talking with Stevie because Stevie is the smarter person in our family. And she was like, Ubermensch, what is that? And I'm like, I don't know. She's like, okay, well, then I will find out. And apparently, Ubermensch is a character in Nietzsche's thought. It's somebody who is the ideal man, basically no flaws, nothing that can hold them back. And they draw all of their power from their inherent self belief. And they don't believe in a God and they don't believe in systems to improve themselves. They believe in their own genuine power to overcome things and basically prop themselves up as a practical human superhero. And the reason why that particular phrase became really popular is because there's a guy named Adolf Hitler who really liked really liked Nietzsche.
Some
And
guy.
yeah, and Ubermensch was a concept he really latched onto. And so this phrase is kind of loaded.
It's loaded, and if you've seen some of the, have you seen some of these tour posters? They're a
Yeah.
little Nazi-ish.
The font is a little
The font, it's if when you listen, black, red, and gray don't necessarily mean Nazi, but the way it was organized as a Jewish person left quite a taste in my mouth.
yes. So yeah, interesting way to come out the gate. But
Yes.
also, if we're being honest with each other, G Dragon, he tends to operate in certain social circles internationally, where
Hmm.
I'm sure that they tell each other, you can do controversial things. It just means you're a provocateur, rather than being like, this is really going to be a trigger for certain people.
Yeah, I don't think G-Dragon's anti-Semitic. I just think he's trying to provoke, and he's doing it in an odd way, especially considering the rise in global fascism. I feel like using the bad guy of global fascism in history is an extremely, extremely poor taste.
Exactly. And a lot of us will say that. But again, like I said, he's traveling with fashion designers and
Hmm.
a lot of industry people who are like provocation leads to sales. You have
Right.
to be slightly dangerous in order for the people to dig it. And it's like, what people are you talking about? G Dragon could have named this album Daisy and it would have done the same numbers.
Exactly. And it's not like musically it's dangerous or interesting music. It's G-Dragon's music.
So let's talk about the music, shall we?
Let's do
Uh,
it. I've got
I
notes.
I appreciate the song with Anderson Paak. I thought that that was a great single. I
Great
watched,
single.
yeah,
And
great
he was,
single, great sound.
I thought Anderson was great on it. I think there was a recurring theme throughout this YG, post YG release party of the singles or the features often outdo the actual singer on these songs. And I thought Anderson kind of outdid G-Dragon a little bit. In fact, I was like, what if this was an Anderson solo?
It could have been. It really, listening to the
Hmm.
song, it felt like it was Anderson Paak featuring G Dragon. I
Hmm.
watched the videos for all of the videos that were released. So there was the video for Power. I don't know why I can't remember the name of the song with Anderson Paak. And then there was the video
Too
for
bad.
Drama. So I watched all three of those videos, and I watched like behind the scenes of the performance for Home Sweet Home with him, Taeyang, and Daesung.
Hmm.
So I watched all of the videos for all of the projects, by the way.
Hmm.
And I was watching the video for Power, which was a really weird watch because G Dragon did not lip sync most of the lyrics during the video's performance. But then
Mm.
watching the video for this song with Anderson Paak, I'm like, he's not really a featured person in this song. He looks like he's having the time of his life. He's
Uh-huh.
dancing and, you know, he's lip syncing to some of Anderson Paak's lyrics because Anderson Paak doesn't appear until the end of the video. But,
Uh-huh.
like, in terms of G Dragon's contribution, it is light. It is a
Yeah.
light contribution. And Lisa kind of has a similar issue on one of her features as well. But yeah, I was just like, I this is a great song. You had access to a very talented person to make
Uh-huh.
this song, but I can't necessarily get excited about this being the direction that your music's going in because we have to contend with the rest of the project.
Right.
And the rest of the project is honestly not very strong to me.
I found it, I think it's like solidly good music, but
Mm.
it's not overwhelming in any way, shape, or form. Pardon me, I'm still a little sick. I think my problem with it is that it sounds very G-Dragon Big Bang 2010s. And I just, it's kind of a bummer to see a lot of artists from the 2010s like Gaga, Katy Perry, and now G-Dragon and some of these other artists like Taeyang, who we'll get to, kind of make music that is, as the kids are saying, reheating the nachos, but these nachos are stale. Gaga is the only one that did it successfully.
Mm-hmm.
But
And even if
also,
you listen to the Gaga project, she's doing other things.
yes, exactly. Like Abracadabra is reheating the nachos, but she's never had a Zombie Boy, a Shadow of a Man, a How Bad Do You Want Me? Like Gaga is still exploring new ideas on her album. There's nothing new on this G-Dragon album.
Yeah.
And it's so
So
that's why the title is also extra weird because he's not taking any swing sonically. It feels very safe. Like these were really solid big bang cut songs that just never got released, and he decided to re-record them himself a decade later and put them into an album.
yeah. And it's frustrating too because it's like we waited a really long time for this. And not saying that he necessarily owed the public anything, but I think for all of the years that we have been waiting for G-Dragon to launch a comeback since he got back from the military, I
Hmm.
was like, well, maybe the postponement of this project is because he's trying to work out a new sound and feel comfortable with it before he decides to
Uh-huh.
promote it, which is
Right.
understandable because
Yeah.
I think about when I think about reclusive artists, number one in the Korean sphere is Dean, in my mind.
Oh, yeah.
Dean is somebody who hasn't had another full length project since he came out with 130 Trouble Mood.
A
And
decade ago.
I know, can you
I
believe it?
can't believe it. I can't believe it.
So when I think about Dean and what he's featured on over the last decade, his sound really has changed. Like there is a huge difference between where he was 10 years ago and where he is now. And I
Right.
can see some hesitancy from him to release a full project because he's like, I'm still trying to figure out what the next sound is that I'm doing. And I was thinking the same thing would be for G-Dragon, but then I listened to the project, like really listened to it. I'm like, drama could be just like anything that came off of any of his other projects. It's, you never like it when it's nice. It's that same nasally voice that he's always used.
But even worse this time.
Well, that's age. That's the other thing.
Uh-huh.
One of the things that I think a lot of artists who get caught up in their head don't realize is that sometimes you have to put out the project because your audience needs to grow while you're trying to grow.
Uh-huh.
And a prime example of that is Beyonce. This last Cowboy Carter tour, a lot of people have been remarking that, wow, Beyonce never wants to do the songs from B Day. Does she hate that project? Not necessarily, but Beyonce's voice has changed quite a lot since then.
Right.
And that's not really the key that she's singing in nowadays. Her
Uh-huh.
voice has gotten richer, her voice has gotten deeper. And sometimes your audience has to get used to the way you sound now. And
Right.
that happens from you releasing projects. Well, G Dragon, because it's been so long, he's still trying to do the same voice he did a decade ago.
Yeah.
And that's not even his natural speaking voice. His natural timbre is much deeper.
It's also just getting tiresome because of how forced it is. I really hated drama. I really, really hated that song. Because of how put upon the voice was.
Yeah. The voice was the voice was unfortunate, and there's going to come a point more than likely, because YG is not known for teaching their artists how to protect their voices. There's going to come a point where G-Dragon is not going to be able to do this voice anymore
Hmm.
because it's not a natural voice. It is a falsetto pushed through his nose trying
Yeah.
to get to this point. And when he can no longer do that anymore, how can he perform? And that's kind of the reason why you need to perform, because you need to get people used to the fact that you are an artist who is aging just like everybody else is. And you have
Right.
to find new tactics to approach the music, new ways to perform the music. And when you're stuck in this box from when you were maybe 19, 20 years old, because he's been doing the same style of performance since he was a teenager, and you don't give yourself the room to tell people like, I'm different,
Yeah.
I'm changing, I'm evolving, then I can see why it would take so long to do the project, because honestly, probably it takes months to be able to get there vocally if you're
Mm,
training. And then
hmm.
you can only really do that for a short period of time before you have to take another break.
Right. It's just sad that 8 years later, there seems to be zero growth musically.
Mhm.
And I feel like I've seen people online have the take of, I don't necessarily want my artists to grow, I want them to keep doing the same thing. And I don't get that because for people who don't know, I'm an artist. I draw, I make my living from drawing. Um, I want to get better. The people I know want to get better and want to improve and keep learning new things. And I feel like that's what a lot of artists I know like is that you keep learning new techniques and new things to try. And so I find it always a bit odd when a lot of these K-pop groups just stay the same, just how stagnant they are, release after release.
And I think that's partially the Korean public. I don't think the Korean public necessarily wants to see people grow. And, at the end of the day, G Dragon is a Korean musician dealing with the Korean citizenship because
Hmm.
that's going to be his bread and butter until he's in his 60s and 70s.
Hmm.
So, of course, you have to cater to them in a way. But also, I think about the fact that, like, the artists who change, it is a gamble to hope that your fan base will stay on the ride while you're changing. You know,
Right,
when I was younger, I looked at Madonna as like the pop star because
right.
her look changed every comeback. She had new producers every comeback. Like she had huge cycle changes. And I guess because she became my standard, that's who I always looked towards. But then another huge megastar that a lot of people could say is an example of kind of staying in place and still being able to make it in a lot of ways is Michael Jackson. Uh,
Mm.
Off the wall, Michael Jackson, in my opinion, is the best Michael Jackson, but Thriller is his most known. And in every successive project after Thriller, there are moments that remind you of what you heard on Thriller, even though we don't have Quincy Jones producing, we don't have the same people playing the instruments. It's a different creative team other than Michael Jackson, but he's using the same vocal tones, he's using the same vocal ticks, he's using the same style of ad libs. And he was able to do that until the end of his life. And there's a lot of artists who are like, I have to decide, am I willing to possibly off put my audience by doing something completely different? Or do I
Mhm.
have enough faith in my artistry and the audience's reaction for me to do something different? And it feels a lot like in this project, G Dragon doesn't have the faith that we can grow with him.
Which is kind of a shame because I feel like G-Dragon is kind of like the male IU in the sense that he's kind of impenetrable in
Mm-hmm.
terms of like success on the charts. Um, IU can pretty much release a fart noise and it would go number one. And I feel like G-Dragon's kind of the same. And I feel like when you're that level and you're honestly as rich as G-Dragon, it's okay if this project doesn't do as well because A, you still have a solid enough fan base that will make this a profitable album for you. You will still make money off of it, but you can at least know that you've tried something and explored. I think Gaga is an interesting version of this because she had like 3 albums in a row where she tried something new. And Art Pop, Joanne, and Chromatica all had fairly mixed reception and still do. Art Pop's the only one that people are like, actually, that was a hit. Like, not a hit, but we really like that now. But
Mm-hmm.
I don't think she really gained the public back, obviously, until this current album. It was people like, oh, yeah, no, Gaga makes good music still.
I would say probably Gaga gained the public back when she did the movie with Bradley Cooper.
Oh, yeah. But she still had 2 albums after that that, like, didn't do too well, you know?
They didn't do too well, but I think everybody appreciated Rain on Me for what it was.
Yeah, we liked Randomly at the time.
Yeah, and then like Die with a Smile. I mean, come on. Could she have a bigger song?
No, I'm so happy for her.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I love that song. Like that. I remember the very first time I heard that song, I was like, oh, this is a song for the decades. This is people's wedding song.
Absolutely. I heard that and I was like, oh, this is going in the American Songbook. This is a classic.
Mm-hmm.
People will be singing this song.
Yeah, but like Die with a Smile Gaga is not just dance Gaga.
No, and that's okay.
Yeah. So, you have to grow. I think that's the other reason why the song with Anderson Paak kind of got the best reception for B because I'm like, I don't necessarily think this R&B esque style is what I'm used to with G Dragon. So this is
Uh-huh.
nice. This is
Yeah.
a nice change of pace. But like Power could be any song that G Dragon has done in the past. It could be anything off of his project with Top. Home Sweet Home, that could be a Big Bang song. It virtually
Yeah.
is considering
It is.
OTT. Like there is no kind of expansion here.
I liked
Good
the
product, but no expansion.
I agree. I liked the verses in Power. The hook drove me crazy. The power, power. I was like, I will shoot myself. I will launch myself off of my chair into the stratosphere if I have to hear that again. But I did like the verses. But it really, he like leaned into the nasally bits of his voice in like the most grating ways possible. Like
Mm-hmm.
it felt like he reached in and was like, how can I annoy people the most? It's this song.
Yeah, it really was leaning into like earworm. Like I want to build an earworm, so I'm just gonna say power, 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 power,
Yeah.
power, over and over again.
I think if anything, I feel like G Dragon should kind of do the Zico route. I don't want to hear from you anymore, but I'm
Mm-hmm.
interested to see what you would produce for another group.
Or I only want to hear a single from you. Release a
Yeah.
nice single and then do some work behind the scenes or feature on other people.
Yeah. I will say, I wrote down the song Take Me. I like Take Me. When I listened to it, I had the epiphany. Give that song to 21, and it's great.
I hated the chorus of that. Take me, I'm yours. Take me. I hated that. I was like,
I don't know, but I
oh.
could hear CL doing it, and I was like, mm, you know.
Yeah, well, I'm glad that somebody found enjoyment. Yeah, it was tough for me to make it through the project. I don't think that there was anything on there that was just like, I feel like you gave up, but there was just a lot on there that I'm like, I wish that you had gone in a more interesting direction.
I agree.
Yeah.
I feel I feel like this project really works if you really only want to hear G Dragon do G Dragon. And I guess that's just not what we want.
No, I want to hear G Dragon do G Dragon, but I want a payoff for the wait, if that makes more sense.
I think that makes sense.
Yeah. So, nothing wrong with wanting to give back what people are used to hearing, but I just wanted to see you do a little bit more. And that's not necessarily what we got. And so, good, bad, whatever. But the project was a decent length. At least I can give him that.
Yeah.
Because
Eight
some of
songs.
these, yeah, well, 8 songs is 8 songs. The next person we're going to talk about, Taeyang Down to Earth, we didn't even get that many songs. It was an EP.
Yeah. Well, we should talk about Good Day real quick, the other G Dragon
Ugh,
song. My
yes.
notes for that song are just, I'm in disbelief. That's my note for that song.
So remember when we mentioned just a little while ago how the Korean public is G Dragon's bread and butter?
Hmm.
As a part of G Dragon's PR campaign to firmly lodge himself into the hearts and minds of the Korean people after a long absence, he's been doing variety, he's been doing different projects on, your standard shows. And one of the things that he's doing, again, to musically ingratiate himself into the hearts and charts of the Korean people, is he did a song from a television show. And the song is called Good Day. And it's like a We Are the World esque song with a
Uh-huh.
bunch of people on it. He's the producer, but the song itself is a mashup of two, I believe, 90s songs, Korean
Mm,
songs. And I
that makes sense. Because I liked individual aspects of it. Like, I really enjoyed the melody of the chorus. I
mhm.
just didn't know what it was doing in that song.
There's so many voices. There's times when the song all of a sudden shifts into a totally different key and just a
Mhm.
different melody entirely. And you're like, how did we get here? What is going on here?
Yeah,
But the song has done gangbusters in Korea.
it's crazy. I'm just happy CL's back on the charts, okay? I
Yeah.
to take my wins when I can.
Well, that's another reason why it bears mentioning because we've got Taeyang on the track, we've got CL on the track. So,
Hmm.
kind of a small mini YG family reunion. But it is one of those songs where it's like, I could not see this traveling anywhere outside of Korea at all.
Or even doing well if G Dragon's name wasn't attached to it.
That too, unless the show that they did this with is one of those shows that like everybody watches. If this is like an amazing Saturday type situation.
Yeah. And I could see that working then because if it is one of those shows, maybe it's one of those songs that doesn't do well immediately, but gets better because people are just listening to it on the show all the fucking time.
Hmm.
that it kind of like wears them down a bit, that they're kind of used to how janky it can sound at times.
Yeah, because it really is like you don't know where you are in this song.
Yeah.
It was I think that the show itself was him was documenting the process of making the song. So yeah,
Uh-huh.
probably the people who watch the show are like, oh, we finally got the climax of what we've been building up to this whole time.
Uh-huh.
And oh look, it's my favorite yesteryear star on the track.
Hmm.
So for that reason, people really liked it. But the song itself, I was like, wow, this is a lot. This is a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. So wanted to make
I
sure.
I
Go ahead.
guess I respect that in a counter to his actual album, Good Day is kind of like a big swing, like it is different for him. It just wasn't a different that ultimately worked out.
Yeah. And honestly, if G Dragon decided that like nostalgia would be his next run, and he's like, I'm just gonna take songs from like the 90s that I grew up and with and retool them, that wouldn't be that bad because we're gonna be talking about Sandara today. And
Uh-huh.
she retooled a 90s song, and honestly, I think she did it really well.
Oh yeah, she did the best she could with that for sure.
Yeah, so we'll talk about that in a moment. But yeah, it bears mentioning that G Dragon has a song out called Good Day, and you just have to listen to it. There's I can't you just have to listen to it.
It's interesting.
Yeah, it is. And it is doing bananas crazy good. All right. So now we're going to talk about another member of Big Bang, also featured on the song Good Day, Taeyang. And
This
Taeyang
album struggled.
Taeyang is difficult for me because for a long time, I think he may have been my bias in Big Bang.
Hmm.
Because I Need a Girl. I was listening to it the other day. I'm like, this song is golden. Nothing about this song is ever bad.
That's the frustrating part of this album is Taeyang has some fucking hits. I Need a Girl, Wedding Dress, Eyes, Nose, Lips.
Yeah,
I even like Ring a Linga quite a bit.
yeah. It's crazy how good Taeyong can be when he's really in the pocket. And
Uh-huh.
listening to I Need a Girl, and G Dragon features prominently on that song too. And
Uh-huh.
I was like, you know what? He's not even that annoying on this song. The song is actually pretty okay with his feature. But yeah,
No.
the the Taeyong who produced Down to Earth is a different kind of Taeyong than we had in the past. We're talking about a man who is now married, a man who is now a father,
Uh-huh.
and also somebody who hasn't put out anything for himself in many years, but also hasn't had his group to kind of draw inspiration from in
Right.
many years because of circumstances which we detailed earlier. And so I think for him, being at home, being a father, not really promoting with his group, not having had a solo in a while. Really, the most notable thing he's done in the last couple of years is Norabun.
Mm,
Yorobun, sorry. So, that meme kind of put him back out there, which
right.
I played that for Stevie, the Yorobun. And she was just like,
Mm,
what is this? Why is he doing worship service at his concerts?
yeah.
And I'm like, because he's Taeyang and he's going to do that.
He's a super
Um,
Christian.
it's hilarious. It's hilarious. But yeah, he put out this project after really being divorced from everything that kind of helped him develop his projects previously.
Uh-huh.
And he came out with a project that really does feel like a man who's lost for inspiration outside of his wife and kid.
Oh yeah. It's the most 6 out of 10 R&B stinkers you could find. None of them are, I feel like, outright bad, but they're the most okay a song could ever be. And there's a saying in the art world that like it's better to fail spectacularly than be boring. And I think this album is that. It's just boring. I don't think there's a single song that's outright bad or ill-produced, but it's just so okay that it like offends me in its mediocrity.
It is it's literally it's a singles
Uh-huh.
album, but then somebody said we've got to sell this somehow. So let's do a track with Jimin from BTS
Hmm.
and Lisa from Blackpink. But
Uh-huh.
if you were to pull those two songs off of this project,
Uh-huh.
these B-sides are an entirely different sound, a
Hmm.
different person. It is somebody who honestly just sounds like I don't even know I'm fucking doing this anymore. I really just want to be at home.
Yeah, it definitely gave that vibe. I think there's even a song about how much he like loves his wife, Inspiration.
Yeah, and then Seed is about his kid. Like
Yeah,
the songs are so much like I just love being at home. I love being around my wife. I really, my life is blessed. Everything is cool on this end. I'm happy to be here,
yeah,
And then he probably turned that in, and somebody said, "You are not Korean Michael Bolton. We don't need these power ballads that are
uh-huh,
kind of half boring. Throw this shit out the window and let's do something new." And
yeah,
so they were like, "Okay, well, what do you want?" And they're like, "Well, people want to see you dance. People want to see you be sexy. So we need at least two sexy, dancey songs." So
yeah,
that's how you got Vibe, and that's how you got Shung, is because they
yeah,
were like, we cannot release this without an anchor.
right.
And he should have argued. He should have argued longer before he released these.
I don't even know if that would have worked because this is from the Black label, and this is what convinced me Teddy's out of ideas, is this fucking album.
We could talk a long time about the destruction of the Black label and how the Black label started in such a good idea, had such good product, and then it
Uh,
became the safe haven for YG people to be because the YG label itself was so contaminated by bad press.
right.
Because okay, let's start with Vibe. Vibe on its own is not a terrible song. It has kind of
Oh,
like a 90s swing to it. It's a little braggy, but it's also kind of a fun song of like, hey girl, when you and me get together, we have chemistry. It's a
uh-huh,
vibe. Get it?
yeah,
It's a sweet song. But then I watched the video for it. And when I watched the video, I'm like, oh, this man hasn't been out the house in a really long time. Because he's wearing the ring-a-ling hair,
yeah,
except for he doesn't have the mullet shaved on the sides, but he's
uh-huh,
basically got the hair slicked to do the ring-a-ling hair. He's
uh-huh,
wearing, the tight leather pants with the blouse and doing a lot of the same dancing style that we're used to seeing him do. And it's like, okay, not great. And then all of a sudden Jimin shows up. And honestly, I was so down on Jimin's muse from this past year
uh-huh.
that I almost forgot that Jimin has a good voice. And when he steps into the song, it's like, okay, yes, using a member of BTS to promote your song, great marketing idea. Don't let
Uh-huh.
this man eat you up like this.
Oh yeah, it's embarrassing.
Yeah, it's like you sound like you, and there's nothing wrong with sounding like you because you have a good voice, but this man is singing circles around you, and he shouldn't be able to do that because I know you're better than that.
Taeyang is a much better singer than Jimin. It's embarrassing.
Yeah, so it felt like he's like, they need a single, I'll do the single, but
Right,
I don't really give a fuck about what's going on here. I
right.
remember what I did the last time I had a comeback. I'm gonna be doing that, you
Yeah,
know? And it's just like I wish it seemed like you cared.
yeah. He said, we're filming this in 3 takes and then I'm going home to my baby.
Yeah, I'm doing two outfit changes, maybe three max. That's it.
Hmm. Yeah,
So it was like, okay, a decent song could be decent if it seemed like you cared, but you really gave the most kind of flat, boring performance. And then
hmm,
you have somebody who honestly you can tell derives a lot of inspiration from you, is very
hmm.
kind of a fan and follower of what you do as a performer. And they
Absolutely.
came to this set. It looks like Jimin's trying to prove like you're my inspiration and I'm going to show you how you inspired me.
Right,
And it seems like Taeyang is like any other celebrity, like, thanks, thank you for liking me, thank you for
hmm,
showing up. I appreciate your support.
right.
Like it would be nice if it seemed like he was excited to perform with Jimin the way that Jimin was excited to perform with him.
Uh-huh.
And that is obvious to the point of being uncomfortable. Also, Jimin, whoever helped you do the vocal production for Vibe, let them work on your next project because you sound so much better when you're not being auto-tuned to death. Oh my
Yeah,
God.
he sounds a lot better here.
Yeah, sounds a lot better here. So then the next single is Shung.
Lisa also ate him up on this song because she seems like she wants to be here.
Yeah, like she seems hungry. You know,
Uh-huh.
I did appreciate that he changed the clothing and hair direction. I think the red hair on Taeyang is so beautiful. I
Uh-huh.
think it makes his skin look better. I thought the styling was better. He's got on like the racing outfit. It's
Mhm.
nice. Somebody said we've got to bump up the styling. But then Shung is kind of like a mid-tempo esque R&B song. Doesn't really have a lot going on there. When Lisa comes in, the song gets spicier.
Yeah.
Yeah, but also like it was very clear during their performance together. Don't at all get near me in a way that my wife might misinterpret.
That I'm a good Christian man. You stay over there.
Yeah, if I read one fanfic about this performance, I'm going to sue. So you make sure that you look to my ear instead of my eyes,
Uh-huh.
which Lisa did. You know, she was very respectful, but it was like, you are a featured artist. You come in here, we'll do our 1-2 together, and then you got to get the fuck up out of here.
He said, I cannot be seen speaking with you without someone else present.
Yeah, you know, very Mike Pence.
Yeah.
You know, if mother's not here, I cannot spend more than 2 minutes in a room alone with a woman.
Get out my trailer.
So yeah, I was just like, you know, this is fun, but it also is one of those things where like you have somebody who obviously admires you because Lisa coming up as a trainee at YG, I'm certain she admired Taeyang very much because she's a
For sure.
dancer. And he was one of the
Yeah.
big dancers on the label. But there was no chemistry. It did not feel like they worked together at all or that they were in the studio together at all. Again, it was more kind of an obligatory thing. And that is the vibe that this album gives off. It gives off, it's time to put out an album. Here is some music. Can I go home now?
Yeah. It felt like they met the day of the shoot.
Yeah. And the crazy part about it is that when we went back to G Dragon's Home Sweet Home, you can tell that Taeyong is excited to be there.
Hmm.
Like he's like, yes, it's me and the boys again. All right.
Uh-huh.
And you then go to his own project and he's like, I can't get out of this place fast enough. When do
Right.
we clock out again? I've got my time card. When can I punch?
Hmm.
So, you know, again, not a bad, well, no, I'm not even gonna lie to you. Not bad singles, a bad listen to. The B-sides are not good.
Right.
Yeah, so that gets us out of Big Bang territory. Now it's
Yeah.
time to talk about To Anyone.
Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna save the Blackpink girls for last because that's what the young people really care about. So you're just gonna have
Hmm.
to plow through it to get to what you want.
Uh-huh.
Um, so I would like to start with Sandara because
Great.
Sandara was a treasure to me. I have been vocal over the years of saying Sandara was my least favorite voice in To Anyone, and I'm not wrong about that. Just so you're
No, you're
aware,
not wrong.
in the company of the other three women, not my favorite voice, probably the weakest voice of the unit of four. But on her own, I'm like, oh my God, Sandara can actually sing? That's crazy. That's crazy. I didn't know. And not even like I didn't know that she could sing. Like she's not giving Whitney Houston or anything, but like even the idea that Sandara could hold a tune for me was a foreign concept. And I don't say that to be rude to
Not
her,
that
but
bad.
when you think about the parts of 2NE1 songs that they give to Dara, she spends a lot of time kind of sing talking.
Sing talking, it's where they really use like the heavy vocal effects on her, especially in the early songs.
Yeah, and because they do that so much to her, it made you think, what are you hiding? Why don't you want to just let her voice be out there? And
Yeah.
so when we got to this project, which has some songs that really hit, I'm like, wow, Dara really is singing. Good for
Uh-huh.
her.
Yeah.
You know, and it again, speaking to YG as a label, there's a lot of unexplored facets to their artists because once YG believes that you are one thing, that's what you are forever.
Right.
And I think Dara was kind of like, we need a lighter voice here because the song's getting heavy. Can you sing talk for a minute? We'll edit it in
Uh-huh.
post, and then we'll just move on. And
Right.
this was all her. And honestly, if this wasn't Dara and this was just some other person, I'd be like, oh, that's a cute project.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really was surprised as a 21 fan how solid this whole project was. I think she picked a great single. It's not like my favorite song ever, but I think the production is maybe some of my favorite here. It's very quintessential K-pop. It's upbeat, it's fun, it's expressive. It's a good time.
It is. It's so like we're in spring right now. If you haven't
Uh-huh.
heard the song Festival in a while, go back and listen to it. It is a perfect we're in springtime song.
Yes. I think my one note for Festival and a little bit the rest of this album is I do think her voice is better than I thought it was. I don't think her voice is strong enough to hold down a chorus. And I think Festival has kind of a big chorus for a voice that to me feels a little thin and a little weak. And I wish they had some background vocals to really fill her voice in a bit and really add the punch to the chorus.
Yeah, but I mean, we're talking her doing a cover of a Jung-hwa song, and that
Who
woman
also has a thin voice.
sings. She has a thin voice, but she has a very powerful stage presence, and she
Yeah.
works around that thinness.
Right,
And
right.
like, I went back and I listened to the original, and there's a lot of work that has been done to the melody to
Uh-huh.
modernize this song and make it work more for Sandara. And I'm like,
Uh-huh.
whoever rejiggered this song to modernize it, that's who needs to be working on some of these YG products. Because
Yeah,
what they did is they made the song close enough to the original that if you're a fan of the original, you wouldn't be like, I don't know what this is. But
right.
also, if you didn't know the original at all, you could almost be tricked into believing this was an original song that Sandara is performing.
Oh yeah. It felt like when AOA covered that Mamamoo song
Mm-hmm.
on Queendom, where it's like this feels like a really good version of its own thing, but it's close enough to the past that, oh, I like that song, and this is a really good version of that.
Yeah, and I love the video. The video
It's
is
really cute.
it's so girly and fluffy, and there's
Mm.
barrettes, and there's pink, and there's clouds, and Dara's smiling the whole time. And
Mm.
then at the end, when she brings out Jung-hwa, I'm like, yes,
So fun.
so
So
good.
fun.
So, I mean, I was already like, okay, the single is good, but usually the single is the best song on the album. I hope the rest of the album is okay. Let me tell you, it gets better. Like, it gets better as you go along.
Oh yeah, I really liked Dara Dara
Mm.
because when I saw it was produced by Gray, I thought, oh, okay, she picked a good producer for her.
I just want to talk to Gray. Like, I really want to talk to him. And I just want
Uh-huh.
to ask, like, what is it about women artists that you're able to key into them so well?
Right.
Because when Gray works with women, he sees something that produces, like, the best version of them. He's done it
Hmm.
for Jessie, he's done it for Hyolyn, and he's doing it for Sandara. Dara
Right.
Dara is a song that honestly it felt like Gray has known Dara for a really long time because he really engineered a song that is the best match for her vocal texture.
Agreed. It's the best song for her vocally on this whole album is Dara Dara. I also liked it because I feel like when Gray usually works with a woman, it's usually like a very like lower toned husky voice, like a Jessie or Hyolyn, as you said. So
Mm-hmm.
I like that he worked with someone who has like a much lighter, airy voice.
Mm-hmm.
It made an interesting play.
It makes me want him to work on more girl groups, but I don't know what
Mhm.
Gray's up to because AOMG has totally fallen apart. But I thought
Yeah,
that song was great. I thought the song wrote by Hayes was super good. Also,
I did too.
I was like, wow, I didn't realize these two women had such similar voices.
They do. They blend really well together. I do think I liked Hayes more on this song though.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, I think it's because she obviously is more comfortable in a song that sounds like the other 2000 songs she's put out that sound like that.
Yeah, I when I first saw Hayes on the feature, I was like, fingers crossed, maybe Hayes will rap again. And I knew should have known better because it was another sad ballad.
Yes. But it also brought up the question again if Sandara could do that, could Sandara have put out kind of a smoky, wintry album on YG? Could she have been kind of a chanteuse
I
type
could have
sounding jazzy singer?
I could have been into that, the Dara Jazz Lounge album.
Yeah. I mean, it's just so many things that heretofore have not been explored with Dara's voice were all of a sudden brought to the table. And it's
Yeah.
like, wow, I can see why YG picked you, but I also see how completely neglected you were on that label.
Yeah. And she also said that she was told by YG that she is the worst singer there. And she had a lot of, insecurities about that for a while. And I'm glad that she had a project that she put out that you can tell she feels comfortable in these songs.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. This was a total win for her. I mean, I don't think that the Korean public paid much attention to it after it came out.
No.
But I think it's just like anything else with Dara. Dara is always going to be there in the background. She's always going to be doing somebody's TikTok dance challenge. She's always going to be
Uh-huh.
showing up to somebody's variety show. She's always going to be out there. So it's not like this album is make or break for the rest of her career.
Mm-mm.
Excuse me.
Bless you.
But it is one of those things where it reminds people that there's more than what you have been previously led to believe about Dara. She's not just
Right.
this weirdo who dates people that are inappropriately young for her. Girl, I cannot believe you said that, and nobody in your circle edited that shit.
And Minzy was there and was like, yes, this is great. We should put this on the TV.
Even if them two ditzy bumheads didn't know better, the person who's the producer should have been like, yeah, this can't go on. We have got to
Right.
end this.
Yeah.
And they didn't. And it just like, is it because Korea's like okay with this? Or is it just because no one was paying attention?
I think it's a little bit of both.
I guess
And then
so.
their statement for the apology was like, we're sorry you were offended, but we weren't. And it was like, damn.
Well, yeah, because you're
Yeah.
doing it. Because you're
Yeah.
doing it. Like I don't know that there's a better way for Dara to have told that story so it didn't seem so fucking weird. But at the same time, cooler heads have to prevail when it comes to editing. Nothing is
Yeah.
making it on air by accident. And I don't know why they would sabotage her like this. And I
Yeah.
think that the reason why we haven't seen a lot of Dara on social media recently is because of this. I've noticed that like people really aren't talking about the 2NE1 reunion as much anymore. People aren't really talking about 2NE1 that much anymore.
Because
Unless,
they've already finished the tour and it's like, what else? They haven't put out new music, so what else is there to say? You know?
right. Well, the only recent thing that anyone's been saying about 2NE1 is about resurfaced footage of CL saying the N word.
Yeah. Whoa, whoa, whoa is right.
Yeah. And I feel like this is stuff we knew about. Like I don't think that this is the first time I had heard that CL had done this before. So I don't think that the YG leaker gave us anything new. But at the same time, it was just kind of like there's nothing else for us to talk about when it comes to CL. So this is what people are talking about because there's been nothing else.
It's a shame.
So
It's a shame.
let's talk about CL. Alpha,
This is the only album on this list that I own. It's goopy. It's got like goop in it.
ew,
It's like glitter goop. I don't know what's going on with this album.
I hope that vinyl is still playable.
I don't know. I mean, it's the vinyl's in a plastic thing. Can I even open this? Let's see what's going on. Oh yeah, no, it's fine. The
Okay.
goop's like in between the plastic.
Oh, okay. Well, YG artists are good for slipping in something weird on their albums. I'll never forget when G Jargon was putting up them USB drives
The
covered.
Blood album.
Yeah, and then Taeyang had the album with the feathers.
These people are crazy.
Big Bang had the album that would rust when it sat on your bookshelf. Like it's a thing. It's always been a thing. The first presses of Crush when they came out all were like broken.
Oh yeah, those are busted.
Yeah, so like there's always something weird going on when it comes to these
Mm.
girls. But yeah, I CL's Alpha is just the end point of a long series of personal tragedies for CL. And
Uh-huh.
honestly, tragedies that like you have to wonder if but for that, could things have been different? Honestly.
I wish. There's times when I do go back and I rewatch some CL content and I'm like, she really could have been something huge. I just think the time has passed. And I hate to say that because I held on for so long that CL really could have been that girl. And I still see it on this album. And I think that CL has more to give as a musician, but she just doesn't put out enough music.
Well, it's all that's been a big part of the problem, but then also like timing's never been in her favor.
Mm-mm.
The world has never been in her favor. Her label has been super kind of like, shut up.
Ooh.
Sorry. There is a little kid in the living room who is yelling, and I'm just like, please be quiet. I'm not normally the kind of person who yells at kids, but it's not even one of my nephews who's over here right now. It's one of my nephew's friends.
Oh, it's even worse.
Yes, and he's, you know how like sitcoms back in the old days used to have like the kid neighbor who was annoying, like an Urkel type of kid.
Yeah. An Urkel?
Yes,
Is that his like French name?
yes. You don't remember that Stephen Urkel would take like this potion to turn him into like suave Stefan Urkel?
I didn't realize. I knew Stefan. I know his name was Urkel.
Yeah, his name was Stefan Urkel.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay,
Well, we've got one of those who lives in this neighborhood.
okay.
And he, prior to me yelling, shut up, he had been
Uh,
knocking on the door for a smooth 5 minutes.
oh, well, I didn't hear it, so I think you're good.
Yeah.
You're
But
good.
then when he got in here, all of a sudden he's like, is Max at home? You've been outside knocking on the door for 5 minutes. Go home. I mean, not to put too fine a point on it, but people in here are avoiding you. Go home. But he's the same little kid that I have to tell him the streetlights are on. Go home.
Yeah.
So yeah, I have my own sitcom annoying child who lives next door. And
Mm-hmm.
let me just tell you, that shit is not fun in real life.
No.
It's fun to watch on a television show, but on real life, you're just like, I'm thinking about moving.
Well, don't think about moving. Think about CL and the weird career trajectory she's had.
Yeah, so let's get back to it. Okay, the first thing to ding up CL's solo career is her affiliation with YG. That is the origin of all the problems, if we're
Yeah.
just really honest with each other. It seems like at every point when YG could have been supportive of the fact that CL was generating speed, power, interest, participation from the masses to make her bigger, they'd be like, no, no,
Uh,
no, no, no. Go away for a little while, make them want it more.
they really Tanya Hardinged her at every available opportunity.
So let's talk about for a minute, just to remind the people, all the ways that she was handicapped. Um, she had solo tracks before 2NE1 kind of broke up and they're like, we're going to do the American thing. So
Yeah.
she had the Gidgy Bay was a solo,
Mm-hmm.
which people really liked. And at that time, we're like, when is she going to do a solo thing for herself?
Yeah.
Let's not talk about that. This is just a fun thing we're doing.
Yeah. I
Um,
still like that song. It's a little cringy, but I like it.
yeah. Then she had the solo Men Boom,
Which is one of her best songs still.
which was completely stymied by the fact that a producer decided to use a prayer as one of the sampling tracks for the song,
Mhm.
so it had to be reissued, which again, I don't think that's CL's fault because who was the producer on that fucking song?
Teddy.
CL and Teddy having a relationship that went south.
You think their relationship went south?
I think that a lot of their relationship going south is the reason why there was no rush or no urgency for him to do work for her.
Well, I just think she stopped working with him. Like when she left YG, when she first initially left YG, she like immediately put out like a 6-track EP of just songs she made while she was at YG that never got put out, and none of them were written by Teddy.
Yes. But I think they stopped working together after
Oh
they
yeah.
broke up.
Well, I think they broke up once 21 was done and he focused on Blackpink.
Yeah, I think that they were already in flux. I mean, we were in a part of the relationship and they never really public about the timing. So this is all conjecture and
Right,
us having our own assumptions.
right.
But the amount of material that has come out recently that shows that a lot of Blackpink stuff and a lot of projects that CL and the rest of the girls from 2NE1 could have put out was produced to finality, like produced
Yeah,
all the way to a completed project and just never went out because it was
yeah.
never a priority. There was never a time when YG was going to allow the members of 2NE1 to possibly be more famous than the members of Big Bang.
He just hates women. Like it can't because it can't be you can't argue that it's money because 21 was nothing but a moneymaker for them.
Mm-hmm.
Hit after hit after hit, album after hit song. They did nothing but make money and have sold out tours.
Hmm.
It's just the fact that they were women and he didn't think that they were pretty. And even that doesn't matter to him anymore because he debuted Blackpink, who, listen, Blinks love to get mad when I say this, but the real truth is YG said this in their debut press conference. He said he did not differentiate 21 and Blackpink. He said that Blackpink is just 21 with prettier girls. That is literally what he said. And even then, they could not get more music than 21 put out. They put out about the same amount of music.
Hmm. Because YG is self-sabotaging when it comes to women until the very end.
Right.
And so then CL had Hello Bitches.
Which people loved.
People loved Hello Bitches.
Hmm.
And YG, again, fucking knocking someone in the fucking knee. Well, this isn't really a single, guys.
Yeah.
This is just a sneak peek at what we're gonna do.
You know the kicker? He didn't even release that in Korea when it came out. That song was put out on Korean streaming services like a month after because people in Korea were like, hold on a second, this is good. We would like to listen to this.
Yeah. So
That's crazy.
again, saboteur.
Saboteur.
Then go ahead.
And the official version of that music video was never released. I've seen it because I went to the Hello Bitches tour in 2016 where I met CL and embarrassed myself in front of her. But during one of the like costume changes, they played the like, you know how there's like the dance version? That's
Mm-hmm.
the performance version. There's like a real music video that was filmed, and it has not seen the light of day.
Again, fucking every time the fucking saboteurs at YG. So then
Right.
she does the song with Diplo, which was just a feature, but she
Yeah.
did the song. And then she does the worst song that she could possibly do, Get Lifted. YG promotes Get Lifted as this is the solo.
Right.
This is what's going to put us out there. And it's so obvious that somebody with no connection to what's really happening in Western culture, somebody who may have been ashamed of what 21 was doing in the past, said this is the way we're going to get the people to like us by doing
Uh-huh.
a straight up and down weird ass song that feels culturally divorced from who CL is as a person.
Right.
The lyrics include got me a 40, got me a shorty. A 40 is a 40-ounce bottle of beer.
Uh-huh.
I do not believe in any universe, either here or in other lifetimes, that CL is ever drunk from a 40-ounce bottle of beer.
She's never had a 40. She's for sure had a shorty.
Yeah. Well, I don't even think that she means shorty. I think she means a fucking like shorty. Like she's meaning like I got my partner and I've got a 40 ounce. And it's
Oh,
just
I
like,
thought she was smoking and drinking.
I mean, it could be both, but it's just like, this is not her. Like, this is not her. And then they show her the initial part of the music video, if I remember, she's like on a balcony in a bikini and a fur coat.
Don't knock that. That shit was hot.
It was hot, but it was also like, this is not how you debut an artist. Like, you bring up the bikini and the fur coat towards the end of the video, not the very
Uh-huh.
beginning of the video when people don't know who this person is.
I can see that. She had some like the some of the outfits when she's walking down the street, I think are kind of nice.
Yeah, those are nice. And that's where we should have started. We should have started
Yeah.
with it should have been a build from I'm walking down the street, I'm meeting up with a couple of friends. We're meeting up with a couple more friends. We get to the party, to the
Uh,
hangout. All of a sudden, we're all vibing. It's become a much bigger
right.
party. And then after dark or whatever, all of a sudden I'm in the fur coat and the bikini because now I'm really about to party. Where is the snow?
Right.
But that's not the way they did it.
They
Instead,
did.
they ended the video with her and Method Man and a bunch of other people floating through the sky.
Because she's getting lifted into the sky.
Yeah, and it was just not good. It was just not good. Like it
I like lifted. But
you like
listen, I was in college at the time, and that was a hit in the colleges at the time. That was on a lot of college party playlists was lifted. And I know you don't like that to hear that, but that is the truth.
it's not that I don't like to hear it. I just think that obviously college students don't have no money to buy albums because it went nowhere after that. I think she performed it on James Corden. I think she maybe performed it on a couple of other Western shows, and then that was that. And then
Well,
YG, go ahead.
I was gonna say, well, Kendrick Lamar released Damn, and then all college parties were like, we're just gonna play this straight through.
Yeah. Well, again, at least the college parties were listening to what the rest of us were listening to. There was like the niche K-pop nerd college party, and then there was like, and this is what the rest of them are listening to.
Whatever. I agree. It wasn't a good move.
Yeah.
I just want to say I'm okay with the song.
Listen, there are songs that go triple platinum in my house all the time, but I also know I'm a fucking weirdo, and I do not reflect the taste of the general pop. Because you already know that there's certain songs that I listen to that I'm just like, why doesn't anyone love this?
Uh,
Like
me when I'm
honestly,
stoned, listening to any song, I'm like, this is the best song that's ever happened. And everyone else is wrong for letting this flop. And I listen
when
to it sober and I'm like, no, that was the drugs, because this is not good.
yeah, and I'm sober all the time, and I'm still
Mhm.
like, why doesn't anyone love Zara Larson?
Because she has a boring voice.
I don't find her voice boring. And she had a song like back when Tinashe, the summer that Tinashe put out Nasty Girl and Sabrina Carpenter put out Espresso. I remember Zara Larson had a song that I really liked. And I was like, everybody, this is the one. And
I
nobody.
know. And you sent it to me telling me it was the one. And it was
Yeah.
like the most mediocre Blinding Lights Redux I could have listened to. So, I'm sorry.
I'm telling you, no one sees the vision. No one
I
sees it.
didn't. I'm sorry. I didn't know
We
what I was
let
supposed to
fucking Tate
see.
McRae be out here, but we can't find it in our hearts to embrace Zara Larson.
Oh, I would much rather Zara Larsson than Tate McRae.
I agree. And that's why I'm still bitter. But I'm digressing tremendously. So,
How did Zara
CL,
Larsson start catching some strays in the CL chat?
I mean, honestly, CL ought to hook up with Zara Larson, try to figure out if they can jumpstart each other. But CL get lifted, doesn't do what people think it's supposed to do. So YG's like, well, we're working with Scooter Braun, but we're going to put things on the back burner. We're not going
Uh-huh.
to continue on with this.
Yeah.
2NE1 is failing. Not failing because they're not selling, but because the whole thing with Bomb has happened. Minzy has left the group. That project is over. For literally years after Get Lifted, CL was in purgatory.
Can I, the craziest purgatory too, because the only so if you don't know, CL is my ultimate K-pop bias,
Mhm.
which is going to make this a difficult conversation. There's some great things on CL's album, and there are some questionable choices on this CL project.
Mhm.
Um, the only song between Lifted and the song she released with when she left YG, the only music that came out from CL was a song called, I think it's called Ain't No Better Feeling from the My Little Pony movie soundtrack.
YG did not see it for her. They weren't willing to spend more money behind her. It had gotten so bad with YG that CL performed at the Olympics when the Olympics were in Seoul. And YG refused to spend any money on costuming, hair, makeup, dancers. They gave her nothing. CL paid out of pocket for that performance,
Hmm.
a performance on a literal global scale, and they refused to support it.
I can't imagine an artist at my label getting asked to perform at the opening of the Olympics and being like, we don't care.
Yeah,
You can
that'd be like
go, but you're on your own.
that'd be like Kendrick Lamar being at the Super Bowl and then being
Huh.
like, "But we don't have a budget for pyro.
Right.
We don't have a budget for dancers."
And she needed help because the skunk hair wasn't working for her. Love you, CL. Hugs and kisses. That was a bad hairstyle.
That was a hairstyle that was more appropriate for a woman my age.
Mm.
And
I,
CL's much younger than me.
yeah. I've been watching, did you ever watch that TLC show, What Not to Wear?
Yeah.
So they have a new show called Wear Whatever the Fuck You Want. And it's essentially them being like, oh, we used to be really strict with how people should wear clothes. Now we're trying to help people really embrace their own personal style because we learned that we were wrong. And I think it's cute. But the female host of that show, Stacey London, which is a fake name, and I don't believe it's her real name, but it is her real name,
Mm-hmm.
has that black hair and then she has like a natural white pieces. And it's
Mm-hmm.
really, really cool. And she looks great. But she's like 60.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. A woman of a certain age wears
Uh-huh.
a gray.
Yeah.
She is a young woman looking like someone's like kick-ass motorcycle mom, but it's
Yeah.
not a look for a younger artist.
Mhm.
And I just remember thinking like, if she doesn't leave YG after this, then she just must not care about having a career, because loyalties aside, anyone who won't support you while you're headed to the Olympics, which
Uh-huh.
feels more like a patriotic act if nothing else,
Right.
they don't support you, period, point blank, no matter what the fuck is going on.
Right. And that's why that next year she left.
Yeah.
She's like, oh, I gotta run this contract out.
Yeah. So she leaves and she releases some music. And the people who have been fans for forever are like, girl, it's about time. Independence Day is here. We're ready to support. So she
Uh-huh.
releases teasers for Alpha. And if you go to CL's channel, that the Alpha, all the Alpha
Uh-huh.
videos and everything on, she has a bunch of people like, CL is back, CL is back, CL is
Hmm.
back. Things are going great. And then
Uh-huh.
she puts out a song. I think it's, was it Hua was the first song she
She
put
puts
out?
out Hua and Five Star at the same time.
Yes, 5 star. We'll talk about qualities in a moment. She puts out these two songs. We're ready for Alpha. And then it's radio silence.
Hmm.
And we're like, what is going on? Where is the album? We've got videos like, okay, you're not with YG anymore, so I don't think he's stopping you. What could possibly be happening? After several months, we get the video. We find out that her mother has died.
Yeah.
And her mother had a serious protracted illness.
Yeah.
And it was just like, why can't God give you a break?
It really felt like just the worst timing ever.
Yeah, because I mean, I would make the same decision. And there's a lot
Oh,
of
for sure.
people who have made that decision. Normani made that decision. The reason why we had like radio silence from Normani is because I want to say it was either her father, I think it might have been her father that was dying of cancer,
Uh-huh.
but she was home for that. Of course, that's a personal decision we made.
Right, right,
But
right.
after so many times of this woman constantly not being able to do the thing that honestly I feel like she was put on earth to do, it was just
Mhm.
like, I can't even hope for this project anymore because you have been through so much.
Right.
So finally, she releases Alpha once things have calmed down, and she tries to support it the best she can. She goes on
Right.
the Clarkson show at one point. Like, she's really trying. But,
Uh-huh.
all of the excitement that she built up prior to her mother's illness, like, that excitement's not there anymore. Excitement
Yeah.
doesn't last for very long. Just like we just said, people quit talking about 21 because the tour's over.
Right.
Excitement has a shelf life. And
Hmm.
so Alpha came out, and I think if the project had come out when it was supposed to come out, I think it would have had generally positive reviews. People would have been
Yeah.
okay with it. But because of the delay, it was just like, well, at least you got something out there.
Yeah.
And
It felt
that's
like
what, go ahead.
the victory felt like it was released. It wasn't like a victory of like musical integrity or quality.
Yeah. And since then, that's all it's been. And I think,
Mhm.
when was that? 2021, 2022?
I think 2021 or 2022. Yeah.
Yeah. So we're talking at this point, 4 coming on 5 years, and there's been nothing else.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's for lack of CL wanting it, maybe,
Uh-huh.
but I would love for someone to talk to CL and just ask her, like, have all of the shenanigans from being in this industry and being with this industry with the organization that you were with, has that pretty much soured you on wanting to pursue it?
Right.
Because when you see her reunited with 2NE1, when you saw her at Coachella, you
Uh-huh.
can tell she's still that performer.
Oh,
She's
yeah.
still hungry. She's still giving it to you. But, wanting to go through fighting for budgets, fighting for video
Mhm.
making, fighting to get on shows to promote all of that, who would voluntarily put themselves through it after all of the false starts CL has had?
Hmm. I I agree. I think that she still does want it. I think that she does want it. I wonder if she's almost burnt out a little bit because she wrote so many songs for Alpha just in the years of YG. Because she worked on a lot of them and like penned a lot of them. I just wonder if she got burnt out a bit. I also want
Yeah,
to note she did release a song after her mom passed, a song for her mom. It's called Wish You Were Here. It's a really nice song. I
it's a
recommend it.
beautiful.
I think one thing CL is great at, and I mean genuinely great at, that I wish she leaned more into is CL is very good at writing slow songs and ballads
Yeah,
because Wish You Were Here is great. It's this nice little spacey song. The project she released immediately after YG, there's a song called Thanks on it. It is a heartbreaking ballad. She wrote one of the best 21 ballads, If You Were Here, a ballad that they still perform at their concerts because it's so loved. Um, CL has a real knack for writing ballads, and I don't think you see a lot of K-pop artists who are really good at that. So kudos to her.
yeah. I think that she, again, like I said, I think this is something she was born to do. I don't
Absolutely.
think for any reason that, she had to be forced to be the performer that she is. There's a reason
Mhm.
why she's a leader. But it's just one of those things where if you can't get the support and you fought for so long to be supported in
Right,
your dream, and especially after losing your original support base, your mother,
right,
like, why would you want to be doing this anymore?
right.
And I often wonder, like, how did they convince CL to go back to 2NE1 to do this again and do it in cooperation with YG?
I'm gonna guess that they couldn't get the name.
I'm assuming so. Maybe YG's like, we need some positive PR. I need you to show back up and do this. And if you do this, we will talk about giving you guys the name.
Right. I
And
think that's it.
I guess, having the name is good because, when they come back every 5 to 10 years to do variety rounds and do another reunion tour, owning the name means that you can put the name on the merch and you get 100% royalties on it. But
Uh-huh.
it's one of those things where it is so hard. It's hard to talk about the Project Alpha
Uh-huh.
without talking about these tragedies
Right.
because the tragedies scar this album tremendously.
Yeah.
Like it's a total vibe switch on this album. Like
Hmm.
you can almost feel what this album was
Uh-huh.
before when it was supposed to be released and
Uh-huh.
what it became, especially
Yeah.
because she puts 5 star at the end of the album,
Uh-huh.
which it's like this was one of the earlier releases. Why is it way down here? And it's
Mhm.
because this album is just a mix of like all of the frustrations, all of the like, okay, fuck it, let's just do this thing. And then the mixture of hope and excitement from some of
Right.
these other tracks. And
Yeah.
so this is not a bad project by any stretch of the imagination.
No.
It's got quality to it. But it is one of those tracks that this is one of those projects that you can just feel the enthusiasm bleed out of this lady.
Yeah. I think there's still some real quality here. I think there's a solid three, four hits for me on this album. Um, should we start talking about the music then?
Yes, please. I'll let you tell the track list because my iPad doesn't want to turn on. It's being a bitch.
Great. So the first song is Spicy. I have a love-hate relationship with Spicy because I think that it is corny in a way that CL can be at times. I
Mm.
got the sauce and it's spicy. Is CL, that's a wild hook, girl. I don't know what was going on in the writing room when you
Uh,
did that one.
the video has like a John Malkovich angel that she stands on.
Yeah, because she just knows everyone. I mean,
It,
this was a girl who had Beyonce call her. Like, she just knows people. Uh,
yeah.
I think that some of the lyrics are kind of cringy, but I will say this. I respect that CL unabashedly is Korean and likes to talk about that in her music. It's something that none of the other artists on this discussion we're having, talk about. It sounds like all the
Well, one of them
Blackpink
is not.
girls want to be as far away from K-pop as they could be. And
Well, I mean, one of them is high.
yeah, but like, but Lisa just talks about how she goes to Bangkok. That's kind of it, you
Yes.
know?
She mentions BKK a lot in her
Yeah.
lyrics.
And it's like, what else is going on in Thailand besides Bangkok, Lisa? Do you know? Because I don't think at this point we know what's going on.
Yeah.
Anyways, I think the structure of Spicy is really interesting to me because the second chorus works as both the second chorus and a build into like a rap verse. And I
Mhm.
think that rap verse is really nice. It's one of the better rap verses on this project for me.
Mhm.
Um, it's fast, it's got a nice sass to it. CL's not yelling at you. She just has that good, calm confidence that like you can really rely on her for having.
Mhm.
And then after that rap, the song really builds again, and all of the instrumental like bits really start coming together and overlaying on top of each other for the final chorus. And I really like that. I think structurally the song is really interesting. I think it's got some stuff going for it. And I think if the lyrics weren't maybe as corny in the chorus, this really could have been something.
Yeah.
But you got the sauce and it's spicy. It's just a step above put it on ice, bitch, Dr. Pepper, which, you know, CL, I love you. Let's talk about the hooks because
There
please,
are no hooks.
please, I'm struggling with them.
There are no hooks.
Yeah.
It's so weird. It's like she's building a verse and she's getting really intricate with it, and then it's time to go to a chorus and like bring in the hook, and it's just like
Yeah.
it just is. It's not there. It's like let's just repeat a phrase over and over again.
Yeah. Very Teddy of her.
Yes. Well, again, a lot of time in close quarters.
Yeah.
But yeah, Spicy has a good music video. I actually really
Yeah.
enjoyed the music video for that one. I liked the red wig. That was cute.
I like the Edward too.
Mhm.
Next we have Lover Like Me, which feels like CL trying to do her best American top 40 hit.
Mhm.
Um, it's cute. I don't hate it. I like it. I think it's different for CL. I don't think there's another CL song that sounds like it, which I like. And I think having it be in all English and then having, instead of a third verse, you do like a little Korean rap. I think that like if she was really trying to catch the American market, this is a good move. It's
I
good.
thought Lover Like Me had a great hook, and usually
Huh.
she doesn't, but you will never ever
Ever.
find another. I thought that was a great hook.
She
And
sounds
then
good.
and then to go into the repetitive Lover Like Me part, I was like, this is where editing is required.
See, I like that part.
See, I like the build up, and then I'm like, okay, let's do something else, and then it just does like an EDM drop.
I'm okay with it. I think it sounds good.
I
But I
think it
would be
sounds
interested if,
bad. It takes away from the energy we just built up.
I see. Yeah, I wonder if you do a chorus and then you do the EDM drop, kind of like how Come Back Home did it.
You're right.
I wonder if that structure could have worked. But I
Mhm.
like it. I think it's a solid showcase of if you don't know who CL is, this shows you this girl has a lot of screen presence and energy. CL is one of those people that just sits there and she is radiating to you. Um, Her voice sounds good. It's different. It's interesting, and she's got some bars. They're not crazy bars, but she's got some bars.
And the video is cute. It's basically
Yeah,
her in the desert wearing different outfits, playing with lights. It's really cute. It's really really cute.
I really like the one outfit and scenery where she just has like braids for days and like the sunflowers all over the place. The web
Mhm.
of braids was really fun.
And it was fun in a way that was not appropriative.
Yeah,
There's a way to do braids where you don't have to worry about people saying, "What the fuck is this?" So please
yeah,
do that. I thought it was a good video. I thought that definitely it was something that I think if I could reorder the singles, that would have been the pre-excitement single I would have released.
yeah. I would have put that out before Hua or anything.
Yeah, because it's kind of the most approachable, easy to digest of them.
I agree.
Yeah.
After that, we roll into Chuck, which I like Chuck. I don't think the next CL project needs a song like this.
I hated when she spelled out her name in that song. C
A,
H A
A, E.
E. It's like, girl, what?
It's so long. It takes so long to get there.
It was just like, okay, we need to talk about lyrics here because
Yeah,
we're doing okay, but this is
yeah,
you would have done better to spell out the word cherry, honestly,
yeah,
because she calls herself Cherry in a lot of stuff too,
yeah.
which
Which I
makes me
like. I think
wonder
that's
if
cute branding.
I think it is, but it makes me wonder if that was going to be a part of like the American thing was like CL's not really known, but my alter ego is Cherry. Kind of like how Jenny's alter ego is Ruby.
I see, I see. Could be.
Yeah, because it comes up in a lot of lyrics in a lot of different songs.
Yeah. I like it. I like the chorus of Chuck. I think it's a fun, bratty song. And
Mm-hmm.
it's cute. I think the video is cute. It's the dance team is Paris Globel's dance team,
Mm-hmm.
um, who's worked with CL before. I think this song has a special place in my heart only because I did fan art of this song, and that's the fan art that CL reposted and liked.
Oh.
Um, so Senpai did notice me. It's not a good drawing, so I'm a little embarrassed that that's the one she saw. But like,
Successful fan.
huh?
Successful fan.
A little bit. Except the time she said hi to me and I went and didn't couldn't get words out. So, you know. After that we get to Sigh, which is an album highlight for me.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely it's got this 80s spacey nighttime driving through the city vibe. Really dig it.
Thigh is very pretty. On my list of songs that's really stood out to me, that was one that really stood out to me a lot. I
Uh-huh.
thought that was a good vibe. And I don't know, that's where I'm talking about when there's like the two CLs. There's like
Uh-huh.
turned up to the max CL, and
Uh-huh.
then there's CL who's kind of like, can I just be a little bit introspective for a moment?
And I think introspective CL is more successful to me.
Yeah,
I think the next CL project, I think CL has generally a really interesting and good singing voice. I really want her to lean into that.
yeah.
I don't need her to do Adele. That's not what I'm asking for.
No,
Do more size. Let's see
yeah.
where you can take that.
That's where I can see her being the most successful for sure. And
Yeah.
that's why I say you can tell like when she's just like, I just really want to like strip things down and be a
Mhm.
little bit more simpler with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that was a good one.
I like Psy. I think the next song, Let It, that to me, so that was originally going to be a 21 song, but she never got Minzy in the studio.
Mm-hmm.
But during a live stream, she shared a little bit of the song with Dara and Bomb's vocals. And I have to say, there's times where CL is a little bit ahead of the curve. This song is exactly what Korea wants right now. Because
Mm-hmm.
this song, if you've heard Fate by G Idol, it's this song. It's that sing-songy, guitar strumming, kind of slightly pop rocky song that
Mm-hmm.
Korea is eating up right now, that the world is really eating up right now. And I think this is like, if 21 did release this, straight to number one.
And I think that's another thing that a lot of people forget about the 21 legacy because when we compare 21 with Blackpink or Blackpink to 21, I should say,
Hmm.
it's always based on like the turn up or it's based on like the really kind of brat girl energy that
Uh-huh.
21 can sometimes have in songs. But people forget that when 21 decides to pare it down and just really sing, they
Uh-huh.
do that.
They do that and they're hits. 21 has a slew of genuine number one hits in Korea that are straight up ballads.
Yeah. And I think that, one thing that CL was really good at as a leader is that when it came time to assign roles for these songs or try to figure out, what order things are going to be in,
Uh-huh.
she really knew the other girls' voices and was
Yeah.
able to like put them in the places they need to be. And that's probably why we never got the 21 version of it really finished because she's like,
Uh-huh.
in my mind's eye, this song is not complete unless I could put Minzy's voice right here.
Right. And I just don't think she got her in the studio in time, and that album just needed to come out.
Yeah.
Um, which is a shame because I think this is a huge album highlight. I think this song, if it was released today as a single, still works.
Also, what the fuck was Minzy doing at the time?
See, that's the real problem is Minzy was unemployed for a long time, according to her social media accounts. So
Mhm.
I don't know.
I don't know either.
I'm just trying not to be too mean to Minzy because she's caught some strays on our channels before.
Yes, and also, we didn't realize until later she was in a really fucked up label situation after she left YG,
Yeah.
which I'm like, what do you mean that you were in a bad label situation? I thought that was the whole point of why you left YG. So how could you get into another bad situation?
Right.
But, I guess lessons are hard to learn.
Yeah. I really like Let It. It's very hopeful. It's very fun. What do you think
Mhm.
about it?
I like it okay, but, in the span of the album, it's a little bit forgettable to me.
Interesting. Okay. I really thought this was a highlight.
Yeah, I thought it was okay, but like, I'm ready to keep going.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, next is Taya Cherry, which I think if I think the correct order for releasing these songs was Lover Like Me, Taya Cherry, 5 star.
Yeah,
That's the single run for this album.
yeah. Taya Cherry should have throw away Hua, or at least put Hua in the back. Because
Yeah.
one of the things I told you before we began talking to each other is that I feel
Mhm.
like sometimes CL focuses on the wrong thing.
Uh-huh.
And this was her focusing on the wrong thing.
Right.
So that's why I'm just like, I would really appreciate it if you would maybe go here instead of going there.
Uh-huh.
I think if we're trying to introduce CL to a new audience, myself, I don't think showing people how artistic you are is the way to go. Not
Yeah.
saying that you can't let people know that like I'm an artist and I know art things,
Uh-huh.
but one of the things that really took me out of Wah was the fact that it felt too much like she was like, I'm your artist's favorite artist.
It's a little inaccessible.
Yeah. Whereas Taya Cherry, I mean, I can tie a cherry. Everyone could do that.
Yeah.
That is something that everyone can latch on to. And
Yeah.
so I really liked it because I'm like, that is the thing. And
Yeah.
with To Anyone, again, accessibility was important. This is
Right.
accessible. Whereas Wah, it feels very ugh. So yeah,
Yeah.
I really like this for her. And I think this is where energy should have been focused.
Yeah. I like the song quite a bit. I appreciate when someone can do a song where they're bragging, because this is a bragging song. It's a
Mm-hmm.
where they're not yelling at me and trying to seem cool. It's if you've ever watched Avatar: The Last Airbender, have you seen that show?
I've seen bits and pieces, but I'll be honest, it was airing at a time when I wasn't really watching.
Fair enough. Well, if you've ever seen that show, for if you haven't seen that show, there's a character named Azula. Azula is a straight up villain. And when they were casting Azula, a lot of the actresses that came in yelled all of her lines. She was yelling, she was screaming all of the lines because she's a villain and she's always saying some nasty shit. The voice actress that got cast, when she came in, she said everything like Miranda Priestley, very calm, cool, and collected.
Mm-hmm.
And that really worked for the casting producers. And I really like when people do braggy songs and they're not trying to be like, yeah, rah, 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 skeet, skeet, which is a huge problem on some of the projects we will be talking to later today. Um, so I like that CL is just like, I am that bitch.
Mm-hmm.
And what?
Yeah. Like I run in circles to where no, you've never heard of me because you're not invited to those circles.
Right. And she looks great. I think it's a great video.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I love the little bridge rap where she's pretty much naked. I think she looks great. She sounds good. I love that like bejeweled headpiece she's wearing and all the nailography she has going on.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
And
this
again, bringing
was,
more Korea into it also.
yeah, I think this is like the perfect example of like who is CL as an artist. She can have the vocals, she has a nice vocal tone, she can rap a little bit. She's got interesting fashion choices, whether you like them or not. She's making bold statements with them.
Mm-hmm.
And the videography is good. It's
Yeah,
like
and I
the
think
perfect
that's
CL package.
that's the other reason why I think that song is so good too, is because whether we want to admit it or not, CL needed to reintroduce herself to people. And
Yeah,
you can't wait until a project's almost over to reintroduce yourself to people.
right.
So,
Okay. I should speed this up because we still got a lot of albums to get through.
mm-hmm.
Um, we have Paradise and My Way, which I'm gonna tack together as the two worst songs on this album and should be cut thoroughly.
Mm-hmm.
Another way that CL focuses on the wrong thing is the bridge to My Way is excellent. She has this slowed down R&B bridge on My Way that is great. It's on a
CL should be an
terrible key.
R&B artist. We've said this over and over again. We said
Yes.
it during Crush. She is an R&B artist, but she just doesn't know it.
The when we said Dar should do a Jazzy Smokehouse album, CL really needs to be doing the Jazzy Smokehouse R&B album.
Yeah, CL could be the Korean SZA if she wanted to.
Please, CL, talk to SZA. CL doing a Kill Bill would change my life.
It could have been her.
It could have been her. Ugh. Anyways, CL, you'll never watch me and you'll never know, but I think we have good ideas for your career. So if you ever want to, feel free to reach out.
Hmm. We always have good ideas. We are like we're master marketers when it comes to K-pop, but no one listens to us until it's
No
far
one
too
listens to us. Red Velvet would not be where they are without if they listen to us. But that's a different story.
late.
Siren, solid ballad.
Siren is so good.
Yeah.
Siren is so good. And I'm like, see, this is what we're talking about. See,
Yeah.
this is what we want.
Yeah.
Ah,
Again, she writes a mean ballad.
she does. And that's the thing that's so fucking frustrating is that
Yeah.
she knows how to express her heart so well.
Uh-huh.
And it's just I almost feel like maybe when she's doing braggy things, because she's kind of self-conscious about bragging because she really just wants to reveal herself, that's the reason why she doesn't brag the same way other people do.
Right.
She's like, if I'm going to brag, I'm going to make you think about the brag instead of just like
Uh-huh.
putting it out there like I'm rich, I'm wealthy, people know me.
Right.
Yeah. Which
Yeah.
I like.
She's just she's just is that bitch. She doesn't need to tell you she's that bitch because you look and you're like, oh no, she is that bitch.
Yeah. And so that's why I think when she's like, besides the fact that I am that bitch, let me
Uh-huh.
tell you about why I have to keep reminding people because this last person I was dealing with really hurt me,
Uh-huh.
you
Yeah.
know? And so I'm just like, yes, tell us more.
It also feels like CL. I just think CL is like a little more perspective and point of view in these songs than I think some of the other songs that we'll talk about later.
Yes, yes. I think she's just, CL feels like she's living life and that's why she's able to talk about life.
Yes.
And honestly, sometimes you got to be a little bit older to do it. But, you
Yeah.
know, being able to communicate things about humanity that are universal will always win over giving people the perspective of your life at this current time in a way that no one else is able to relate to or experience.
Right.
So,
And then we have Hua, which is I like Hua. I think it's a fine song. I think it's there's some interesting layers to it that I enjoy. I like that the phrase that she uses is the like English translation is like everybody stop and look at me. It's the red light green light. If you've ever watched Squid Games,
uh-huh.
that little pigtail girl,
Yeah,
she's saying 무궁화 꽃이 피었습니다. I'm really bad at Korean. I'm so sorry.
yeah.
That is the hook of CL song because that's red light green light. It's everyone stop and look at me.
Which again, ahead of her time.
Ahead of her time. More Squid Games. Yes, it's so fucking frustrating. And also, again, a great way to be like, I am that bitch because you're all gonna stop and look at me.
Mhm.
Um, I like that song, but then we end with Five Star, which that song still has some gas in the tank. That song has some gas in the tank.
Five Star does something that I don't think I've ever seen a Korean artist do, and that's give you a video that makes you feel like I am intruding on this very intimate moment between you and your boyfriend.
Right, because she was kind of dating him at the time,
Well, not
according
even just
to
that,
us.
like it was like they were being cute together, but they
Uh-huh.
were also being cute in a way that's like, oh, I really do think y'all both like each other a lot. Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
I don't need to be here because y'all are gonna start kissing soon, aren't you?
Yeah.
And I was just like, there have been times when people have tried to bring in a love interest to a video just so it matches the theme of the song. We need to do this thing, this will be nice. And it's like, okay, it's cool, show us that you're living life. This really did feel like she's like, I'm not your K-pop idol. I am an artist, and I'm an artist in a way that like I'm really out here living, and this is what it looks like to be in love with CL. This
Yeah.
is what it looks like when CL is in love with you. And I was just like, God, this is such a good video. This
Hmm.
is such a this video has such legs, even though it's such a simple video. It's
Yeah.
mostly them like goofing off most
Hmm.
of the time and hugging each other. But
Yeah.
it really was like if somebody could capture what it's like to be in love on screen, and it's been captured throughout the history of cinema,
Of course.
but in a K-pop music video, if somebody could capture being in love on screen, this is what it is. And you just don't capture that in a lot of videos made by
Uh-huh.
idols. And I think that's what makes this special because we're going to talk about the girls from Blackpink. And there are a couple of videos where I think they are expressing their in lovedness. And it's just like, this falls so flat.
Yeah.
And that's from years of being trained that you can't look like you're interested in the opposite sex when you're in a video together,
Right.
i.e. Taeyang and Shung. But this was like, I want y'all to be together forever. Please don't break up, but
It
also
was
don't
really
let me
cute.
see this because I'm so alone.
Yeah. It's really cute. It's a really good song. It's a great album closer. It's definitely a sonic highlight of the album.
And that is the reason why it's so frustrating because when that video came out, again, before the big kind of like
Huh?
stuff with her mom's health, it was very much like, okay, there's heat on this album. Cannot wait for it to
Huh?
come out. And then silence.
Yeah.
And so, I don't know if they broke up during that period. And that was another big reason why I was just like, I don't really feel like saying or doing anything. But yeah, for a while there, they were very cute. They were very, very
Yeah.
cute. So,
Being featured on one of his songs where she does have that smoky jazzy vibe. And it's like, oh, this is the real fucking tea right here.
this right here,
Yeah.
that's what I say. It's focusing on the wrong thing. Like she's always so fucking close, and then she this it, and it's like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Why'd you do that? But
Yeah.
yeah, it is what it is. But we'll go on to just say, if you haven't heard Alpha in a while, please go back and watch the videos, go back and
Hmm.
listen to the songs. It's a quality project. I mean, definitely CL left us on a high, but it is
Yeah.
one of those things that just the levels of tragedy associated with this project make
Yeah.
it a very painful project to listen to when you know where she should have been
Right.
had things not been constantly in her fucking way.
And one thing to note about CL's talent, 11 songs, zero features. She did all of it. And I really, really respect that. That
Yeah.
album is entirely her, for good and for worse.
Yeah. And I can't speak highly enough of it.
Yeah.
Cannot speak highly enough.
Well, should we talk about the Blackpink ladies?
Okay. So Blackpink, they had contract renewals come up and all of the girls agreed we will be Blackpink together.
Hmm.
But they all agreed we are not going to be solo artists on YG any further.
No.
So everybody kind of did something different.
Yeah.
I think Rose is with the Black label. Is that what
Google
she's
this.
still Rose is the only one still affiliated with YG on a personal level.
Okay, then yes, she's on the Black label.
Yeah. But the other girls are all in kind of like their own companies made for and by them, which in the past has not always been the best idea for a K-pop idol going solo. I'm thinking
Right.
specifically of Hyolyn and Bride. But yeah, not
Solin.
always the best idea.
I just gotta say I think about Hyul.
Yeah. I that's why I wanted to move past it because
Yeah.
I cannot focus on letdowns. But yeah, so they're all kind of going their separate ways. But when we're talking about pop culture, the question is always who is the Justin Timberlake of the group?
Uh-huh.
Who is either going to come out first or who's going to come out the hardest. So there's two dichotomies here. There's either you're the Justin Timberlake of the group, meaning you went solo first and you sucked up all the energy in the room, or you're the Harry Styles of the group, meaning you didn't go solo first, but your solo far eclipsed everything everybody else is doing.
Right.
And when it comes to Blackpink, it was us waiting to see who is going to be the breakout star. Is it going to be Jennie, who YG has always kind of positioned as the one to watch in the group? Was
Yeah.
it going to be Lisa, who kind of is the dark horse in that there wasn't a lot expected of her, but when she got her solo under YG, people were shocked how good it was, even though there were literally only two
Yeah.
songs. But
And Money was the hit. Money was the global hit.
Money, timing wise, Money was so in the pocket because
Yeah.
I think Squid Games had come out right after, and then like all the TikToks for Squid Games featured Money.
Yeah.
So crazy, crazy good. And then Jisoo, she had a nice solo too. Rose's solo was fine. Wasn't my favorite thing in the world at the time, but I was like, this is doable. But everybody was like, once we leave, who's going to come out first and who's going to come out best?
Right.
And honestly, I feel like all of them still need a lot. Some more than others,
Yeah.
but all of them still need a lot before we can make that judgment.
It's clear that Rose has the biggest single. Apata is by far the biggest single out of any of these Blackpink girl
So
songs.
let's start there. Let's start there because that is the music I have talked about the most recently because
Okay.
I talked about it during my 30 albums run. Apata is so good. It's so good.
So good. I was back at home in Chicago recently, And I'm the only one in my family that listens to K-pop. And that song came on the radio. And my mom, my sister, and my sister's husband all were like, "Oh, we love this song. This song is so good." And I'm like, "Am I in the Twilight Zone? My
Mhm.
family likes a song by a K-pop artist? That's crazy."
Yeah.
It's a hit, and it's a hit everywhere.
Oh yeah,
And
it
for
is.
good reason. Bruno is very good at what he does.
Can we talk about this for a second? Because you and I
Yes.
share another thing that a lot of people don't know about us. We both listen to Pop Pantheon, the podcast.
Hmm.
Great
Yeah.
podcast. Can't recommend it enough to people. DJ Louis' attitude towards Bruno Mars thoroughly pisses me off in every sense of the word. I cannot stand it. He's so fucking negative and down on Bruno Mars as an artist that I'm like, listen, I get it. He's not your cup of tea, and maybe you don't
Uh-huh.
take his art seriously, but Bruno Mars literally has his fingers on the pulse of what the universe wants to hear.
Oh, yeah.
And you got to respect him for that.
Yeah.
Bruno Mars, when you listen to Apata, you cannot help but hear the Bruno Mars that was giving you like Lazy Song and
Hmm.
a lot of the early kind of Bruno Mars hits. And then he crafted that and rolled it around what Rose was already trying to do as like an Olivia Rodrigo-esque type of
Uh-huh.
artist. And it's
Yeah.
just like he and Gray have that same DNA of if a woman tells me they want to do music with me, I'm
Mhm.
listening to them and I'm giving them something that suits the two of us.
Right. And we talked about Die With a Smile earlier. Another incredible Bruno song that came out like 2 months before Apata.
Mm-hmm. And
And I'm sorry, Blinks. Apata works because Bruno's a good songwriter. Rose is not a good songwriter. She has a dozen other songs on this album and they're not good.
yeah.
Apata is good because he took a look at her notes and was like, "I'm gonna yes and this."
Oh yeah, and even like even the song "Number One Girl," which
Uh-huh.
would be the next song that I would say is like, yeah, it's still very like coffee shop amateur night, but at the same time, there's a little something there that
Yeah.
tickles my head. Bruno Mars and Amy Allen writing on that shit.
Right.
And Amy Allen, for those of you who don't know, wrote all the hits with Sabrina Carpenter.
Hmm.
She actually won like Songwriter of the Year this last Grammys.
Good for
So
her.
like, yeah, so we're talking about big money being spent
Right.
almost to the point that you're like YG must have been so glad to have at least one of the girls re-sign with them that they
Uh-huh.
said we're willing to give you budget just to show up them other ones.
Right.
So definitely Apata, huge hit. Other songs okay, but this project, so God bless Jisoo, this project is so fucking long in the teeth. Like
It,
it's so long.
and it's all the same, and she has zero perspective on anything. It's very, I think Rosé's in like her early 20s. She might even be my age, she might be in her mid 20s.
Mhm.
And all these songs feel like they're written by a 13-year-old girl.
They're
And that's
all like,
okay if you're a 13-year-old girl. But
it's the Taylor Swift, Olivia Rodrigo, Gracie Abrams, Phoebe Bridgers school of singing. And
yeah.
it's not even that she's trying to sing like them, even though she does her best Taylor Swift imitations at
Uh-huh.
multiple instances on
Yeah.
this song, on this album. But it's also just like the whole I need to sing about what terrible relationships I've been in. I need to sing
Uh-huh.
about how I wish someone would treat me special. And it's just like, I get that. But
Uh-huh.
also, you were a member of Blackpink.
Right.
Also, you are an internationally known attractive young woman.
Right.
I don't want to hear from you about how you just can't seem to find love,
Right.
and it's just
I'd be willing to hear it if she had a more unique way of portraying it. She just doesn't offer, whoa, that came out so weird. She just doesn't offer a lot of perspective. It doesn't feel like it was written by her. If you told me these were all written at a song camp for a Disney Channel original movie, I'd believe you.
yeah, and it does feel like a lot of these songs are first drafts that were just put on the album because we just want to add more tracks to the album.
Absolutely. It really boggles my mind that Apata is even on this album because every song is like a kind of mid-tempo Taylor Swift redux, and then there's Apata. And you're like, okay, so what are we doing here? Because at least Olivia Rodrigo's albums have half of it's the sad ballads, and then the other half is the pop rock.
Yeah, like get him back and stuff like
Yeah.
that, that, is different and fun and exciting.
Right. And another thing about what works with Olivia is Olivia, she's kind of funny. Like her and Sabrina Carpenter, they're pretty funny. Their lyrics are funny, and they know that they're funny. Get Him Back is a funny song. Bad Idea, right? She's kind of just doing a tight five. Rose,
No, it's joyless. It's absolutely joyless.
yeah,
And again, Rose, she's got a great voice. It's even though a lot of her voice is derivative, it's hard to be that good when you're being derivative. And she's doing that. So
right.
I have to give her at least credit for, you sound very close to the original. But
Sounds
it is
great.
just like
Yeah,
if you're going to do a new take on someone who is such a pop cornerstone,
yeah,
you've got to approach it differently. You've got to talk about what it's like to be a fish out of water as a person who grew up in Australia and came over to Korea. That's a
right.
great thing to talk about. You could talk about what it's like to get out on your own because you're leaving the label and you have to stand
Uh-huh.
out on your own. That's fine. A lot of people around your age are either getting out of college or,
Yeah.
getting into their first grown up situations. And so that's fine too. But just constantly being like, I'm just a girl looking at a boy and asking
Uh-huh.
him to love her. I
Yeah.
don't want to hear that.
It's not interesting.
And I know there's a lot of people
Totally.
who are going to say, well, I'm young and that's what I'm feeling. Good for you. I'm glad she's talking to you. But then you take the most popular song on the album, which is about basically, let's get together and drink and fuck tonight.
Yeah.
Come over to my house. We're going to play drinking games. We're going to just do whatever the fuck we feel like. And we'll worry
Yeah.
about the consequences in the morning.
Yeah.
That is the shit. That's where the money is. And obviously it shows because of how everything else performed.
Right.
So yeah,
Totally.
I still think she's a talented girl. I still
Yeah.
think she's a talented girl, but she's got to come up with something else.
I agree. And I think the reason that, people might like this because of their age and stuff is I think something that is really problematic with K-pop right now as a whole is K-pop had such a boom in popularity with COVID that K-pop didn't have to change its sound at all because so many new fans were coming up that they were like, to us, we've had 21. So when
Mhm,
Blackpink came out, we were like, we got tired of it faster because we've heard it before. These
mhm.
people haven't. If this is your first time hearing this type of music, I get that it's probably alluring and very interesting. But as some people that have been in the game for a long time, it's tiresome.
Yeah, and you wonder why old people are so fucking bitter. And it's
Yeah.
because we're constantly looking for something new. And
Yeah.
it's like this is not new and not to shit on what you're doing, but this has been done before. And I think that's the reason why Madonna gays get such a bad rap.
Uh-huh.
Because when you're an old school Madonna gay, you can't look at a person like Lady Gaga and not say, seen that before.
Uh-huh.
And so we're all like, get over it, old man. Now's our time. And it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, that's true. But also, I was hoping maybe y'all would do something different because I really do want to see something different,
Right.
you know?
And I want people to understand that the two of us think that Rose is very talented vocally and has a lot going for her. And she's too high profile of a celebrity to be releasing music of this quality. She has all the resources at her fingertips to release good music. So I
Mhm.
don't think there's really an excuse here.
Yeah. Like I said, Amy Allen, songwriter of the year.
Amy Allen, Bruno Mars.
Yeah, there's big names on here
Yeah,
throughout the project. People who maybe aren't known to you and I, but have been producing huge projects across the globe, worked on this album. And
right.
it's one of those things where it's like, there's no reason why this should feel so amateurish, but it
Hmm.
feels that way because I think I think they tried to release a project before Apata was written that was like, oh, Rosé's this indie artist and
Yeah,
Westerners are going to like her because she's kind of this indie girl. And it's just like, no, no. Once you do something
no.
as big as Apata, you need to come with more.
You need to come with more. This is gonna sound harsh. Once Apata became what it was, scrap the album.
Yeah.
Literally, scrap it. I don't want to hear another song on this album because none of them are good enough after
Yeah.
Apata.
Or it's like, we need to emergency meeting. we need to redo every fucking thing. If we're
Yeah.
gonna use those same songs, we need new producers. We need to change the vibe up. We need to
Yeah.
re-record the vocals.
Yeah.
But yeah, Rose, I'm proud of you, but the album sales really speak to the fact that the song is amazing, the album is not.
Yeah.
So tis what tis. Next, I would like to talk about Lisa. I want to talk about Lisa because Lisa has been the person that I have been rooting for a really long time.
We have been championing Lisa for years. And Lisa,
Girl, what was that?
you made it hard to root for you. You made it hard to root for you. Uh, there's a line in one of the songs in this album, I think it's on Thunder, where she says, "You can't box me in."
You boxed
Lisa,
yourself in.
you boxed yourself in with this one, sweetheart. This album is supposed to have a lot of sonic differences because it's different alter egos that she has. All alter egos where she's like a bad bitch, you know?
Stink, stink, stunk.
Stink, stink, stunk, corny Collins show. The corny Collins show is turning you away for being too corny.
It's like, girl, let's talk about personas versus the reality here.
Yeah,
I'm such a bad bitch, but also my boyfriend happens to be the heir to Louis Vuitton Moet Hennessy.
yeah,
I'm such a bad bitch, but I have put out a song called Moonlight Kisses to
uh-huh,
just fawn over this bland ass French boy that I am
right.
madly, devotedly in love with.
Hmm.
I'm a bad bitch, but all I've ever done is tell you I'm a bad bitch. You have yet to see any bad bitchery from me.
Yeah. I'm a bad bitch in Bangkok, and I'm a bad bitch in LA, and I'm a bad bitch in Korea. And then I'm a bad bitch in Bangkok again. BKK. And it's like,
What
it's
makes you a
such a
bad bitch?
one-note album. What
Yeah, it's like,
about
and
you is
I'm
a
a
bad
bad bitch
bitch?
because I have so much money. I have so
Yeah.
much money, more money than you've ever seen. I got bands on bands on bands. I'm so rich. I'm so
Huh.
beautiful. I am that girl. But I'm that
Right.
girl because I'm so bad too.
Yeah.
Ow! And it's just like, I don't believe you. I don't believe you.
No, it comes across as fake.
Yeah. And then, like, one of the things I wanted to talk about for certain when I talked about this is when we talk about Lisa and we talk about Jenny, one of the
Hmm.
things that we just do not talk enough about in pop music in general, but especially in K-pop, anyone doing a girl crush concept at this point in the game owes everything they have to Rihanna. And when Lisa
Hmm.
came out with Rockstar, it was so apparent. She was like, I'm going to follow the Rihanna playbook.
Uh-huh.
And for it to fall apart, all of the project to fall apart the way it did, it was just like the reason why Rihanna can be Rihanna is because Rihanna is Rihanna. There's
Uh-huh.
not a single instance in Rihanna's career where I have thought Rihanna is acting more cool than she actually is. No, I believe
Uh-huh.
everything that bitch says.
Oh
If
yeah.
she told me I will slit your throat, I'd be like, because I
Yeah.
believe her. Whereas,
You better
like,
have the money.
yeah, bitch better have my money.
Uh-huh.
You right. I got a kidney. I can get,
Yeah.
you know.
I got the checkbook.
Yeah, so I believe Rihanna when she says this stuff, or when she's like, I hang out at the club, I post up, and people know not to fuck with me. Like, you're right. I'm sure people are scared to approach you
Right.
because you give off the vibe that if I don't invite you, don't come over here.
Right.
And there's Lisa smiles all the time,
Uh-huh.
and so it's like there's nothing unapproachable about you.
Right.
There's nothing too cool about you to me,
Right.
and initially that's what I found very charming is that, like, even though Lisa was given some of the worst rapping that she could be given, I
Hmm.
always got the vibe like Lisa seems like a fun nice girl.
Yeah.
And so constantly hearing her try to convince me that she's this big badass that we all need to be afraid of, and again, you just seem like a nice pretty girl. It's
Yeah.
just like, I'm tired of you trying to make something happen that's never going to happen. Fetch is never going to
Uh-huh.
happen.
It's not gonna happen. There's a couple tracks on here I like.
Okay, let's talk
Couple.
about them.
I like Born Again if it was released in 2020.
Mm-hmm.
A little old, but the best part of that track is Doja Cat. I like that track because Doja Cat is incredible on that song, and I love Doja Cat.
I feel like Born Again would be great if it had three totally different people singing that song, or maybe just one, because none of these people go together.
No.
So that's I'm just like, what are we doing? I don't believe y'all were in the studio together. I think y'all just met on set. Uh, None of y'all go together. So
Yeah.
what are we doing here? Why did it require three people? This
Yeah.
could have been a two-person outfit. Why is this three people?
Yeah.
Like, no, it didn't work. And I thought that the song sounded played out. And this is no offense to the Ray fans in the room, but Ray is somebody who has such a distinctive voice
Uh-huh.
that when she writes songs for other people, she really should be writing them for herself. Ray is the singer of Escapism, the
Uh-huh.
song that was like on TikTok forever, like a year ago.
Uh-huh.
And so like she writes songs that feel like they were meant for only her to perform.
Well,
And
this was a
that's
Ray song.
it was. And that's why
Yeah.
like this song didn't feel like it fit Lisa. It didn't feel like it fit Doja Cat. It felt like both of them had to put on voices that they don't normally use in order to fit into Ray's world.
I was okay with Doja Cat because I feel like Doja Cat is always putting on a voice.
Mm-hmm.
And so that didn't feel out of place to me.
I thought she sounded weird in this song because it almost felt like she was unconfident during the singing part. During
Mm.
the rap part, she sounded like Doja Cat, but during
Yeah,
the
so
singing
good.
part, it didn't sound very confident. But that's also
Okay.
because honestly, we haven't heard Doja Cat sing in a while because she's
Yeah.
been doing the rappy rapperson rap
Yeah.
reps lately.
Yeah. Which she's dropping. She's gonna put out another pop album soon.
Which is why you should never tell people that your pop shit is lame. Because what if you have to go back to it to put these lights back on and pay for tuition?
It is what it is. I'll be streaming very happily.
Of course, of course. We're like, girl, I get it. You were under stress. You didn't mean it.
Yeah, I don't really care if she thinks her pop shit was bad. Hot Pink's a great album, and so is Future Nostalgia. So whatever.
Yeah.
I don't
So
have to agree with her.
yeah.
Also, this might be a hot take. I like Elastigirl. It's dumb and it's fun. I'm elastic girl, my body around your la 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 Lisa. Of that type of song, it's the best we have on this album.
Stevie's favorite track is New Woman.
I think New Woman is not for me, but I see it.
I think the Rosalia feature is the big reason why Stevie loves it because Rosalia's Moto Mami is an underrated eternal classic.
Is
If
that a
you've never,
song or an album?
huh?
Is that a song or an album?
Both. The name of the album is Moto Mami, and then she
Okay,
has a single on it called Moto Mami. It is pretty much all in Spanish because she is a Spanish singer.
right.
But Rosalia Moto Mami is so good, and it's doing everything, in my opinion, that people think they want when they think of hyperpop. But at the same time,
Okay.
yeah, but at the same time, it's very grounded in again not Mexican, but Spanish musical culture. I'm not going to say Mexican because she's not Mexican. She's Spanish, like from Spain.
Uh-huh. I have to
But
check this out. This sounds good.
it is. Moto Mami is a very good album. But
Okay.
Stevie has had a long relationship with Rosalia, and so she really liked when the song slowed down and they put in the Rosalia part
Uh-huh.
and they sped it back up to get back to the original BPM. So
Uh-huh.
she really enjoyed that. And I thought that New Woman had probably the strongest chorus of the songs that she
Yeah.
released. Because like Rockstar
Okay.
doesn't really have a chorus. She's like, I'm a rock star, I'm a rock star.
I liked Rockstar because I thought it was fun to sing. I really tortured my partner with that one because Lisa, can you teach me Japanese? I said hi
Hi,
hi.
hi.
Became a vocal stim, and I would just say that 5 times a day. And so I'd put that song on, and her would be like, it's
I
just so
thought
I
you were
can say, Lisa, can you teach me Japanese?
I thought you were torturing your partner in a different way. And I'm not gonna go into it, but the line "make it rock hard" was what I had in mind. And I'm like, yeah, that would get on my fucking nerves if every time we were getting intimate, you're like, make it rock hard. I'm like, shut up.
No, no, I wouldn't do that. I'm trying to have fun when we're being intimate.
Thank you. Because I'm like, that would make me like I don't want this.
No, we're intimate. I'm not trying to make jokes. I'm trying to have
Yeah.
fun.
There's some people. There are some people out there.
Okay.
I was
Well,
listening
maybe
to
Seinfeld, but not me.
I was literally listening to like Smosh Reads Reddit where some guy was like getting it on with his partner and in the middle of they're like up here, like trying to do high five.
That's actually really funny. But it's such a vibe killer.
Right. And the guy was like, immediately I was done. Because they hadn't
Immediate, oh,
finished.
soft in seconds.
Yeah. And so I was just like, it's funny to us because we're not there. But
Right.
if we're there, we're just like, get off me.
Yeah.
So, but
If I saw
yeah,
that in a movie, I'd be like, that's hilarious.
yeah. But then let's talk about the stinkers of this album. The song with Future, why?
Bad.
Why?
Bad.
And
This
when you
album
took
is
Future,
mostly stinkers to me. I gotta pull it up.
oh yeah,
I don't even remember the names.
it's Fuck Up the World, I think is the song with Future.
Oh God, I did not like that song.
Yeah,
It's
I
not cool. Again, it's the corny Collins show.
yeah, Lisa's raps are terrible. The I thought that the rap was terrible because Teddy was writing it before. Whoever Lisa's hiring to do the rapping for her, they're not doing her any favors. The raps are not good.
No.
So Fuck Up the World was terrible. Moonlit Kisses, which we talked about a moment ago. I don't need you redoing Kiss Me. I don't
Yeah.
need that. And I don't need to have it redone so that you can do, again, that say so beat
Right.
while talking about this rich French guy you're fucking.
I do not care about the French guy you're fucking. Ooh. I did not like Rapunzel either. I didn't even like Megan Thee Stallion on that song.
Which was terrible. And then, like, the song she has with Tyla is a Tyla song that
With
Lisa is featuring on
yeah.
Lisa's album. What
Yeah.
does that mean?
I was like, I kind of like the song, and then I realized Lisa wasn't singing. I was like, that's why I like this song because
Tyla
Lisa,
does
it's not a Lisa song.
Tyler does great, and Lisa doesn't come in until like the last third of the song. And I'm like, how did this end up on your album?
I think one of the hard parts about this album for me is I listened to this album this morning as a refresher, and I'm looking at this track list, and Bad Girl, Lifestyle, Chill and Dream, I don't even remember listening to,
This
and I
album is
know I
utterly
did.
forgettable. This album
But
is utterly forgettable. It is a bad showing. It makes you think that Lisa needs somebody to be her taste maker, that she just doesn't have it. And
she
it's again,
does.
it's one of
Absolutely,
those
she
things.
does.
It's one of those things where like I think about money. And I remember when La Lisa came out, I remember telling you specifically, money is the one.
Yeah.
And
You did say that.
yeah, and La Lisa was the single, which La
Yeah.
Lisa did great. Don't get me
Uh-huh.
wrong. But I knew from the moment that that came out, La Lisa's not the one that's going to go off. It's going to be this money song for
Uh-huh.
sure. And I feel like that Lisa needs a tastemaker.
She
I don't think
does.
she has it. And what's crazy is the next person we're going to talk to is a tastemaker, but their tastes are all over the place and they really have got to edit themselves as well.
Should we get into it?
Let's get into it.
Jenny's album was very frustrating to me because there are some real good highlights on it, but I think the order of operations is insane. This is the real alter ego album.
The, oh, before we leave Lisa, though, I do have to mention one thing. I was going to talk about album sales when we did all these discussions.
Uh-huh.
When I went to Wikipedia to look up the album sales for Lisa's album, it said that that album sold 28,000 copies. 28,000. Thousand. THOUSAND. Thousand.
She couldn't even
How
write
does that?
100,000?
I went to K Town for You because K Town for You tells you all of the different versions of the albums, how many versions of the album sell. After I added all of the sales from all of the versions of the album, I did not even come up with 10,000 copies sold. What happened?
Damn.
Like I mean it. This is a mystery to me. I need someone to explain this. What happened?
La Lisa sold 846,000. Damn. Lisa.
What is going on?
Girl. Ooh, it's rough for you, girl. Yeah, it's
Like
bad.
I feel like, and we've already mentioned her once before and said we didn't really see it for her, but honestly, what she's doing is the smartest thing anyone could ever do. Lisa should have been a Tate McRae.
Oh, just dance her way through this?
Dance her way through it, but also like find things that one are more accessible and aren't you trying to redo Blackpink shit.
Yeah.
Like I feel like if Lisa had recorded Okay, hot take. Camila Cabello's last album was actually pretty great.
I haven't listened to it yet, but I have heard that it was like the only thing I've heard about is that a lot of people were like, it's really good. And like ashamed
It is.
to say it.
It is. I think a lot of people didn't dig it because we were all kind of just hating on her for the moment anyway.
And I hated
Uh
the single.
yeah, and the single I Love It was not the greatest look, but the album was great. And the album is a bit appropriative if we're all being honest with each other. You know, a lot of like, city
Work found
girls type
inscription.
stuff. Yeah, a lot of that kind of thing. But I kind of feel like that's what Lisa needed. Lisa
Mm.
needed very much to sound like a 19-year-old black girl in a lot of ways. And I know, again, that sounds appropriative. But what I mean by that is she needed to do like a poppy version of kind of R&B, light kind of Instagram rap girl stuff. Uh-oh. Did the picture go out on you?
No.
Oh, okay. For some reason, it like went hand gestures on me, but
Oh, I'm sorry.
it was weird. But yeah, like she needed to do something that again sounded kind of like a teenage black girl. And I'm not saying that because I want people to appropriate, but because that's what Lisa was kind of already doing with Money,
Yeah.
if we're honest.
Lisa needs songs for girls that don't sing or rap too good, but
Yeah,
still can sound good.
she needs songs that broadcast the fact that your boyfriend has money
Uh-huh.
and he's paying for you to do this project. And
Hmm.
so you've got songs that are expensive, so that's why they sound good.
Right.
And this sounded like your boyfriend is stingy because he did not hire people to give you the best things he could.
No.
He's like, I'm paying for two songs. I'm paying for Rockstar and I'm paying for New Woman. And then after that,
Yeah.
you're gonna have to figure it out on your own.
Yeah.
And the fact that the third single was Moonlight Kisses, I still cannot get over. I cannot get over that.
Such a bad choice.
It was a horrible fucking choice. But it must be a popular choice because I heard it in the Walmart a couple weeks ago.
I keep hearing it on the radio and I don't know what's going on.
Me neither. Are we just that desperate for recycled material?
I guess so. People love nostalgia.
Yeah. But yeah, Lisa, I don't know what the fuck is going on here. I don't know what happened, but this was this was so sad. This was so sad because it's clear that you do not have an ear for anything. You do not
Mm-mm.
have an ear for anything. Whereas Jenny, which we had just gotten into, Jenny has an ear for everything. You just have got to figure out what we're doing here.
Yeah. I the first like few songs on the album make no sense next to each other because you have that like almost lullaby childlike intro
Mm-hmm.
where she's singing about how we're going to be best friends, and then you have Like Jenny, which is her braggadocious rah 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 I'm a bad girl song.
But have you ever
Then you
met?
have like a smoother, more R&B ballad, and then you have a Dua Lipa feature.
Yeah.
And it's like, so how did we get here?
Yeah, it's such a fucking roller coaster and it's one of those things where it's hard to catch a vibe because that's the thing about album track ordering, which is a lost fucking art nowadays.
A lost art.
Yeah, when people are organizing album tracks, you have to guide people into the highs and the
Mm.
lows. You can't just drop off the face of the cliff. You have
Right,
got to be here and then crest your way down
right,
and then build yourself back up. People are not doing that on albums anymore. So you are getting a ballad right after you get like a hype song. And it
right,
makes it to where you're like, I can't really remember what the song before sounds like because I don't know how we got here.
right. It makes no sense. I feel like she overcompensated with songs. Like I feel like she was frustrated with Blackpink only having 8 songs on a full-length album and was like, "Well, I'll give you 15." And that's great. But some of these songs could should A be cut, B just reorganized. Some
I hated
reorganization would do this album a huge justice. Like Jenny and With an IE should be right next to each other.
absolutely. And it's crazy to me that with an IE does not feature Jennifer Lopez. That to me, out of all of the features that she has, because she has tons of features. We're talking Dua Lipa, Doechii, Dominique Fike,
Uh-huh.
uh,
Childish Gambino,
Tarzan
Kelly
Hill,
Olcott,
Kelly Uchis. I'm sure I'm missing one just now that I can't think of, but there's one more that
FKJ.
well, FKJ, but there's another one that's like somebody people will actually know that's featured on there. But
I'm not
there's
seeing
all these
anyone.
features. There's all these features on
Uh-huh.
here, but within IE is a interpolation of Jennifer Lopez, I'm Still Jenny from the Block.
Oh,
Yeah, that's
I
why the
know
beat sounds
that.
so familiar because don't be fooled by the rocks that I got. I'm still Jenny from the Block.
I've
That's literally that song.
I've
And
never heard
after
that song
this, you have
before.
to watch that video because God, it was back when she was doing her first go round with Ben Affleck.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah, it's a piece of like social media legacy art.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, but why was there no Jennifer Lopez feature for that? I get
That'd
it.
be fun.
All clown Jennifer Lopez for that whatever the fucking art project that was, but she would have been great on here.
And she needed the recognition.
Mm-hmm.
Um, there's a couple songs in here I really like. I think
Damn
Mantra
right.
was a really good first single.
Really?
Yeah, I think Mantra works for me. You don't like it?
So I had to watch 7 music videos in order to watch all the music videos for this album,
Uh-huh.
and Mantra was the one that I'm like, no, absolutely not, not for me. I don't like this.
I don't like the video. I like a few of the outfits, but I like the song.
Yeah, I think what I didn't like about it is that it same thing I've said about some other projects. I just felt like again, Jenny's got interest all over the globe. I've
Yeah,
never heard Jenny sound like this, and she doesn't sound like this at any other point on this album. And I'm like, who was this song originally written for? And then you bought this track,
that is how it sounds.
and so
I,
that's why
I don't
I
know,
didn't like.
but I like that she sounded different. I
I
like
mean,
Mantra. It's a good
you
song.
have to like that she sounds different because she sounds different on every single song practically.
Yeah. I think she should have gone further a few times actually.
Hmm. I don't know. I'm just like, can we just be? Can we be something and just sit there for a minute before we decide to be
Yeah.
something?
My favorite song, honestly, is Love Hangover.
You really did like that song when it came out. I remember you texting me being like, "This is a great look," and I'm like, "This is a wonderful B-side."
No, I think it has legs. I don't know. It's just it's nice. It's sultry. I think it uses her lower register in nice ways and then flips into her higher register in nice ways. It's a great smoke song. If you're out on that stoop and you're smoking a joint, it's a great song for that.
And it is a super cute video. It's got Charles Melton in it, and it's basically like every time her and Charles Melton go on dates, she ends up getting in trouble somehow or another. Like the I trip and fall in love part,
Yeah.
she literally trips and falls multiple times on their dates.
I think it's a bad video.
I thought it was adorable.
I think the video is like so distractingly over the top that like you can't focus on the song. And I think that's bad.
I thought the video was adorable because it literally was like a video. Whereas a lot of the videos that we're going to get from this that we have yet to talk about, it's just like,
It's
what was
just,
this for?
yeah, some dancing.
Yeah, what was this for?
Yeah.
So I like that one. I like the video, but I thought the song was a wonderful B-side. It wouldn't have been, I wouldn't have made a video for that song. Or if I did do a video for that song, I wouldn't have done that video necessarily. But the video was fun to watch.
Yeah. I like that song the most, I think. I don't understand like Jenny being such a big hit. I just don't.
I do, because out of all of the tracks that we have listened
Uh,
across all 4 women, this is the one that sounds the most like it should have been attached to anything Blackpink esque.
I can see that, I guess.
Because it has that kind of like driving beat to it. It
Yeah.
is very hooky. There's tons of hooks in like Jenny. Whereas,
Yeah.
some people can't buy a hook to save their life. That song has multiple points that you're like, this is the hook.
I just don't like any of them, I guess.
And that's valid.
Hmm.
Also, I appreciated that in the video, she kind of looked like one of those dolls that they sell over at the Pop Mart.
Oh, yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm going to bring this up now because I have to bring this up now because
Okay.
I think either I talked to you or Stevie about this. I cannot remember which one. The performance of her doing like Jenny at Coachella.
Lazy.
Now, back when Blackpink went on tour, right before they left YG as individuals, there was a whole scandal about how Jenny is a lazy performer. Like
Hmm.
lazy, hashtag lazy Jenny was all over the map. And then
Was
We just
not the
kind of
first
forgot.
time she had that scandal either.
No, no, not the first time, but we had kind of forgotten about that.
Uh-huh.
And then Jenny goes solo and she's on Coachella, and we're like, this is your time, girl. You're going to show the world that
Uh-huh.
the lazy Jenny rumors are not true because this is the biggest audience, because there's people all over the globe watching,
Uh-huh.
plus there's people in the audience. She does not make it through that song, guys. She
Mm-mm.
does not make it through that song.
And it's like a 2-minute song.
It is crazy how like tired she looks, and she stops lip syncing for a few moments because she's having a hard time catching her breath, and she's her movements are not crisp, and it's just like you've spent the last what 7-8 years dancing your ass off, not including some of your trainee time, and like you should be better at faking it if nothing else.
Well, she never tried to fake it, is the problem. We saw in the tour videos.
Yeah. And so I remember somebody on Twitter was like, well, you notice that the only time Jenny really hits it is when she knows that her friends are watching, or she knows like important people are watching. And so that's why I was like, this is Coachella. This is where your friends are watching. This is where
Mhm.
important people are watching. So this should be where you
Right.
fucking knock it out. And the
Yeah.
fact that that didn't happen here was like,
It's wild, especially because she's not someone that performs all the time. Like I would get it more of some of these newer girl groups who have done nothing but they're in the practice room 12 hours a day, 7 days a week, you know. Like if you're like a Ive and you're just practicing on stop, nonstop, constantly, always, I get it. Jenny is like mostly a model that sometimes sings.
yeah, does a little acting on the side. And
Yeah,
so I just expected more from Coachella, not more from Jenny on somebody's random morning show, but more from
right.
Jenny at Coachella.
Yeah,
And it was like, she's just like, but have you ever met? And it's like, what are you doing?
yeah.
So yeah, I don't know, girl. If you just hate this fucking song, you made it the second song on the track on the album, so I like to think that
Yeah.
you really liked it, but come on, figure out what's wrong. Are you anemic? Like, what's wrong? What's going on?
It was disappointing.
Yeah. So my favorite song on the album is "Damn Right," but that's because "Damn Right" is a song that I could literally hear anyone else singing, and if you took Jenny off the song, I'd still like that song.
Yeah, I like Kelly Ulchis on that song.
Yeah.
Um, I like Doechii and Extra, but
Yeah, Dochi in extra L, which I think it's supposed to be, they put extra L, and I think that's supposed to be extra large, but like they just
oh,
did it weird because there's a line in it where she's like, in my extra large t shirt.
yeah.
So that, I
Okay,
think that's where
fair.
that comes from. Um, that was my favorite video out of the group because
Yeah, the
she
video
took a
is
lot of
cool.
style notes from what Dochi's doing and
Uh-huh.
imitated that. Also, it's the only time she wore the hair from the cover.
Yeah. I like the video more than the song. I think Doechii eats her up in that song though. It to a point where I'm like, should I just go listen to the Doechii album that came out? I should just go
And
listen to the Doechii album.
yeah, you should. Handlebars. I thought Handlebars was a good use of Dua Lipa because Dua Lipa
Yeah.
has had a hard couple of years too.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this was like, oh, Dua Lipa can sound nice sometimes. I hope she does come out
Uh-huh.
with something.
hmm Yeah, I hope the next Dua Lipa project is a little better. Or just at least what she pitched to us.
Yeah,
Because 70s Psychedelia is not at
no,
all the album that she put out.
yeah, that was, unless that album got like scrapped and they just didn't tell us.
I mean, it was written by the Tame Impala people, and it still didn't sound anything like that. So I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, but yeah, that song, I was like, Handlebars makes good use of Dua Lipa, and I thought that Jenny sounded up to task to sing with Dua Lipa, which was
Uh-huh.
nice. Even though, still, when it would swing over from Jenny to Dua Lipa sounded stronger.
Yeah.
And I think that's the other thing too. Like Jenny can do so many things with her voice. Like she is an expert mimic,
Yeah.
but the mimicry is still very identifiable as mimicry because she's
Uh-huh.
not strong with it.
Right.
And that was something that really bothered me, was like, okay, if this is how you're going to sound from now on, sound like this, but like sound like this.
Hmm.
And it's just like she would just touch on it and then move on to something else. And then
Right.
touch on that style and move on something else.
Yeah.
And so I'm getting this whiplash from the way she's changing her voice, the way she's doing different things, the way she doesn't feel committed to anyone, and then also the up and down vibe shift of every fucking song on here. To the
Yeah.
point that by the time I got to Twins, I'm like, and who is this lady?
Her worst Taylor Swift impression ever.
Is
I
is is
I
Twins
really
about
didn't
G
like
Dragon?
Twin. Huh?
Is Twin about G Dragon?
Why do you think so?
Because she talks about listening to Ashanti on the beach. And I
Uh-huh.
don't know any young people listening to Ashanti.
The G-Dragon?
Okay, Ashanti was really popular in like the early 2000s.
Uh-huh.
So who would be listening to American pop music in the early 2000s? When some
G-Dragon.
of the other men that she dated were like born in the early 2000s.
Yeah. Could be about G-Dragon. I was so distracted that it sounded like a really bad Taylor Swift song that I couldn't focus on the lyrical content in that way.
Yeah, it's
It's
just I
it's also a really terrible album closer.
it's a bad album closer. It's like we've run out of tracks, so I'm just gonna put this one that I was kind of
Yeah.
workshopping. And a lot of the songs, if we're being catty about it, felt like responses to what other people are doing,
Yeah.
which I'm like, you don't need to do that.
No.
Yeah.
Again,
Worst
she
song on
has enough clout and connections to have a great, well thought out project.
Mhm.
There's no excuse for it not to be.
Yeah. It's just, she needed to do something different. Also, worst song on the album is Zen. I hate that fucking
I
song.
hate Zen. I
I
hate
hate Zen
Zen.
as a song. I hated it when I first heard it. I
Yeah.
watched the video and I'm like, God, you look so great on this video. If only this video was for any other song.
Yeah. Did not like that song. Oh, another song I liked was Filter.
Filter was an interesting song because I never knew where that fucking song was going from moment to moment.
Agreed, and that's what I liked about it.
Yeah, so
It
that one I
was,
was like,
well, yeah, it's one of the few I would go back to, but I don't know if I think this is a very okay debut. I'm glad people like it. I don't know where she's going to go from here, and not in a way that I feel excited about.
yeah, yeah. Now let's talk about the person who gave us the biggest kind of like, oh wow, which is the
Yeah,
reason why I say I don't know who the Harry Styles Justin Timberlake of this group is.
right.
And that's Jisoo with Amortage. Is that how you pronounce it?
I think so. I always read it as a mortgage. So,
Yeah, I think it's Amortage because I think it's supposed to be Frenchy esque pronunciation. But God, who would have thunk that a tight four from Jisoo would be so satisfying?
I don't know. Shit is popping. I am so convinced that Your Love is such a good spring summer song.
Mm-hmm.
That song when you're trying, Your love feels like the rain. You're just like, you know that gif of who is it? Scarlett Johansson from Marriage Story. She's just like dancing.
Yeah,
That's me when I hear Your Love. It's such a good shower song. It just makes me feel like, oh, everything's fun and love is great and the world can be nice sometimes. It's just
yeah.
nice.
And then like Stevie said it best. She said when we were listening to Earthquake, she's like, "Why does it sound like Padam Padam?"
It is. It's Padam Padam. It's good.
Yeah, but I mean, a great comparison. If you're gonna
Yeah.
compare it to any song, that's a fucking phenomenal comparison.
Oh yeah. She's like, she heard Padam Padam and said, I would like to do that. And honestly, good for you. You did a good job.
Yeah, and you did it in a way that it's obvious where the inspiration came from, but you didn't do it in a boring way.
No, it's like I see the inspiration, but you did it in your own way, and so I like it.
Yes, and the video is so cute, and she looks
So
so
cute.
good.
I love when she's on the little chart tracker thing and she's
Uh-huh.
dancing a little chart graph. That was really cute.
Yeah, I just loved everything about
Yeah.
that. I loved how like when she picks up the phone and she sees the image, the message she's about to write back, and they're
Uh-huh.
like, "Are you sure you want to risk your heart like this?" I'm
Uh-huh.
like, "Yes, let's
It's
be
really
literal
cute.
about metaphors."
Uh-huh. I also really like Hugs and Kisses.
Hmm.
Another cute song. It's just, I don't know what to say other than it's good. It's my favorite of the Blackpink solos easily.
And her voice, again, like Sandara, it feels like she's used as a punctuation point in Blackpink, Whereas
Uh,
here, it very much is like, oh, she's got a whole ass voice that we just haven't heard her use.
yeah, very nice voice. Hers made me the most excited to hear what she can do next because I think she had the best taste when it came to the song
Mhm.
choices. And I think she offered a lot vocally that I was not expecting, that I would like to see her play with her voice more.
Yeah, the only thing that Stevie said, because I tortured her by making her listen to all of this with me as well. She's
Uh-huh.
like, I feel like her register is lower than these songs are written, and I wish she could sing in her own register.
I could see that. I would like
Yeah,
a whole registered song.
and I was like, I can see that too. Like I can see where maybe some times in the vocal she's straining to get to a place, and
Uh-huh.
maybe it's because she has a naturally husky register, and it would
Yeah,
be nice for her to be there for a moment.
right,
But also, like, how many pop songs in recent memory sport husky vocals from women?
right,
We hardly even have songs that sport husky vocals from men anymore.
right.
Almost every fucking guy is doing falsetto.
hmm
So, yeah, we haven't gotten to that place yet, but it really makes me feel like Jisoo, much like Sandara, there's more that YG just wasn't utilizing because it didn't fit what they were trying to do.
Right.
Speaking of YG and things that YG says doesn't fit, while I was watching all of this stuff, I got to recommend for the video, like 4 years later, New 21.
Uh-huh.
And I watched that video, and it's from the official YG channels before Blackpink debuted. But it was four girls dancing and singing, and not a single one of those girls made it into Blackpink.
Damn. Any of
We
them
don't
make it into a different group afterwards?
know.
Oh.
And it was one of those things. Well, I think maybe one of them might have, but I don't think so. And it
Hmm.
was one of those things where in the comments, if you put it by like age of comment, the
Uh-huh.
initial ones are like, "Oh wow, so cool," and then like the recent ones are like, "And we never heard from them again."
Right.
So it's like one of those things where it's like, I feel so bad because YG, if nothing else, doesn't look at the people who do their work as artists. They look at them as projects. And when you
Uh-huh.
look at people as projects, you don't develop them. And
Right.
I think that has been very obvious from what G Dragon has put out, from what Taeyang has put out,
Uh-huh.
from what the girls from Blackpink are putting out. There's no investment in development.
Right.
And, I listened to there's a channel called Begin Again, and that channel has it has a bunch of people doing like acoustic song covers. So you've got Crush doing acoustic song covers. You have Ehai on there, and there was a version of Gummy, who used to be signed to YG,
Uh-huh.
and one of the members of Baby Monster singing "To Anyone's Lonely." And when they were both singing that song, they both sounded so comfortable and at ease and facile around these lyrics and around this music and
Uh-huh.
around this melody. And when that happened, I was just thinking to myself, wow, there's so much talent and has been for so long on
Uh-huh.
YG.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, there's no real investment in any of these artists being anything other that fits the YG mold.
Right.
And when you think of especially somebody like uh, Gummy, I remember did the "You Are My Everything" song from
Uh-huh.
what do you call it? Did the song from
Is it
Descendants
Goblin?
of the Sun.
Oh.
Yeah, it was Descendants of the Sun. You are my everything. And when I heard her do that, and then I went back and I looked at what she did for YG, Gummy shouldn't be singing anymore because YG used to make her strain her voice crazily. Like she would growl at
Mm.
the end of her songs at a point that like I would watch and I would feel uncomfortable for her voice. And
Ooh.
her voice would crack in these performances. And the fact that Gummy, 20 years later, is still able to do these songs speaks to one of two things. One, she decided to protect herself by leaving YG, but
Mhm.
also two, you can live outside of that mold if you just put more work to it, if you just find a way to try to live a different life.
Right.
And that's a lesson going all the way back to the beginning of this conversation with G Dragon. You can live outside of whatever fucking box YG puts you in. You don't have to keep doing this nasally squeaky thing that you're used to doing, especially when that's not your natural timbre or tone. You
Right.
don't have to keep doing Taeyang, this same kind of like cool boy aesthetic when that's not you anymore and you're actually just a family guy and you really would like to be that guy.
Hmm.
And also for the girls from Blackpink, you don't have to keep thinking that the only way to keep fans invested in you is if you keep giving them things that remind you of Blackpink. You can
Right.
do something else. And so, kind of the postscript of all of this is there's not a single person that I've heard an album from in this entirety of listening to albums that was not on their own incredibly talented.
Right.
The problem has been and always will be YG is not a label that cares about talent. They care about where you fit in what they're doing.
Hmm.
And because they don't care about anything other than that, they have scarred a lot of people's confidence. They've scarred a lot of people's ability to do anything else. And they've ruined a lot of fucking lives. And that's the reason why we're talking about an artist like Lee-sung, who they've never really said how he died. The family said natural causes, but he was found passed out in bathrooms before he died
Hmm.
on drugs. And for years, this was going on, literally for like almost a decade, issues with this kind of thing.
Hmm.
YG robs a lot of people of their confidence in their artistry. And that's why when we listen to people post YG do stuff, I can't help but wanting to hype them up because I want them to believe you can be something
Right.
else because you wouldn't have gotten here if you didn't have it. It's just that this asshole made you believe that's all you had. And that's why the final album I want to talk about, just very briefly, is Bangyadam,
Hmm.
because Bangyadam's album, not really great, I would say,
Uh-huh.
like in terms of like, oh, this is life changing. He's going to have a huge career. But it was such a non YG thing that he was doing that
Uh-huh.
I'm just like, yeah, do that shit.
Yeah. It really felt like it could have come from like an AOMG, his album.
Yeah. And it was just like, he was in Treasure.
Hmm.
I had to listen to Treasure last year in order to do my top 30 of 2023. There was nothing on Treasure that I liked. I mean, there were some couple of things where I'm like, this
Yeah.
is okay, that's okay. But for the most part, most of the stuff they were doing, I did not like it at all. Then I got a chance to listen to Bang Yidam, and what he's doing is so different from Treasure.
Yeah.
And it's so like, it's indie, it's vibey, it's R&B-ish, it's just different. And I really love that for him.
Yeah.
And he's somebody that if he can continue to do stuff like this, or if he can continue to find his way around what he will be as an artist, his time with YG will be a postscript on the rest of his career.
Right.
But the key to him being able to do that is he got out early.
Yeah.
I think he did maybe like a couple of years with Treasure, and then he was like, I'm off this.
I think he did less than a year with Treasure.
Yeah. And so, it was one of those things where he got himself out of there, but he got himself out of there before YG could destroy his confidence and
Right.
destroy him remembering who he was before he got there.
Hmm.
And that's why I just wanted to make sure that we made mention of it and that we say, like, these things can happen. And, like, another postscript that we cannot fail to talk about is Ehai. Ehai's
Right.
biggest hit is a post YG song. And I never thought that day would come because I thought Breathe would haunt this woman for the rest of her life.
Right.
But only is that girl.
Seems to be. People love it.
Yeah. When you
People
look
love
at
it.
Spotify, it is beloved. It has made its way to TikTok. People who could give a damn about K-pop know
Right.
that fucking song. And last year, towards the end of last year, because she left AOMG too, because AOMG is fucking hemorrhaging people,
Right.
she released a song called Only Thing. If you haven't heard it, you should. It's a great fucking song.
Yeah.
It's not on streaming, and I think it's not on streaming because of the sample that it uses, because it uses a sample from SWV's Use Your Heart. But a great fucking song.
Hmm.
And Ehai is another one who proves you can do anything you want to do if you put your
Right.
mind to it. Don't
Yeah.
let this man brainwash you into thinking you don't have anything else left in the tank.
Her album post YG, her album with AOMG is really good.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. And also her personality bloomed when she left AOMG. Like when you
Oh
look at
yeah.
her in the videos for the song that she does with what's his name? Terrible Hair, Weinstein.
Yes, 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 yes.
Yes. Great video. She
Cute.
looks so confident. Like she
Uh-huh.
just she's a woman now. And I feel like
Yeah.
YG just wanted her to be like this girl who just sings these songs and doesn't have anything fun about her. They let her
Right.
have one fun song, and that's the song that she did with Homegirl from Akmu and
Uh-huh.
Bobby.
Yeah.
That's it. Everything else was like, we just want you to stand there and belt.
Yeah.
But she's a lot of different things. She still can do that, but she's a lot of other things too. And that's why I really, really think that like you can get past it. YG doesn't have to curse you, but you either got to get out while you can before they break you, or you have to have somebody in your corner who's constantly reminding you you're more than this.
Right. And I hope our harshness doesn't sound like we hate any of these people. I think especially with the Blackpink girls, it's disappointing more than anything because I remember when they were teased. I remember when Blackpink was just they were rolling out a new member each week with a teaser photo of who was this? It's Rosanna. Oh no, we have Elisa. And we've been there from the beginning and we know how talented these girls are. And it's disappointing that the level of talent isn't being met with the music quality.
Yeah. So, as I would say, lots of love here. Both of us love you all very much. All of these
Mhm.
albums had at least one or two things that you could be like, yeah, that was good. That was a nice
Yeah,
moment there. But it is overwhelmingly upsetting to see how broken YG has left several people.
yeah,
And that's why it is fuck YG all day. And it is support everyone who leaves YG unless they do something crazy, because who knows what kind of fucking hell they went through to get out that place.
right. All right. Well, thank you all for watching. It was so good to talk about these albums.
It was. It was wonderful to talk about these albums. It was wonderful to spend the time. Like, I literally have something I need to be doing right now. But I really want to take the time and just talk, 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 because they
Hmm.
deserve, because honestly, a few of these albums, no one else is fucking talking about them.
Hmm.
So it's us. But
Yeah,
yeah, listen to them all. Listen to
yeah.
them all. Listen to Sandara's solo. Listen to Alpha. Listen even to Taeyang's Down to Earth.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, not great, but he still is Taeyang, so that means he still has a decent voice.
Right.
And definitely check out Jisoo's Amortage if you
Yeah.
haven't. Really,
It's
really
really
good
cute.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
It's a
then
great little summer
Bang
album.
Dong, he could use somebody in his corner, so give him
Hmm.
a shout out too. But yeah, support these post YG acts. Don't make it seem like the only reason why they're successful is because of YG, because that feeds into the mental torture he's already put these people through.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, have a great week, everyone, and have a happy summer.
Bye.
Bye.